Good morning, everybody. Good morning to everyone who's out there. Party people in the land, it's 8 o'clock Central Time at this moment, October the 10th, as we barrel down this month of October. Hopefully, this one ends up being a quick one for us. It's going to get into holiday season, starting to get a little nice to see Uncle kind of wear a little long sleeve, something that's sweating all day. Feeling pretty good about myself. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hopefully your Tuesday was good. Hopefully you're waking up to some fantasy football victories this morning. I got one by a couple of points. Then I was telling Aaron beforehand, I had one guy, 2 quarterback leads, dropped 255 points in a game. Glad to play against him. I was able to lose in a respectful manner without getting embarrassed. But I got to lose in that. But man, I hope everyone's having a good day. Hoping your Monday's off to a good start. Your Tuesday's off to a good start. Or what I say a lot of times, if you're having a bad week, we're gonna make it better. And if you're having a good week, then we're gonna send you over the top and make it even greater, whatever the words that we're looking for. Well, nonetheless, welcome back to the Old-Fashioned Sports Show. I am your host, Anwar Richardson. Good to see everyone in there. Before I even get a chance to acknowledge everybody, I see Major Alexander wasting no time to get in the super chat. Wasting no time at all. Major, here you are. Hey, you like it, I love it. You want this what you want to start off with? And then let's do it. Major Alexander in the super chat says, good morning, bro. I'm over the loss. Time to move on. God is good. Major, come on now. You're supposed, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right, Major. You're supposed to say God is good all the time. And all the time, what? You can finish the rest in the chat for me, for those who know it. Good morning. Yes, it's time to be over the loss. And that's going to be one of the things I kind of talk about today. One of the things I started to kind of focus in on yesterday. And then other things that we're going to talk about a little bit about today is, yes, the loss. It's a loss, but I'm going to put this loss in perspective so everyone understands, like, all right, the sky's not falling. There's no time. There you go, Major. There you go, Major. We got the, codes all here. Bros in here. We got, so everyone understands that the sky's not falling. That it's not death, doom, and destruction. There's no need to panic. There's no need to overreact. There's no need to freak out. I've got enough evidence to show you that your Longhorns are going to be all right. I get it. But your Longhorns are going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Bar part is it's a bye week. So you don't really have time to, how can I focus in on something else? How can I move on to something else? Like that kind of becomes a problem that you got to deal with. But nonetheless, if you can kind of get through this week, get to next week, you're gonna be all right. Texas is gonna be fine. So don't worry about it. Don't trip over it. It's gonna be all good, as they say. And good morning to everybody. I was raised. Don't slip on up. I'm that that got a lot of different dimensions to him. I got a little drink. You guys know I look like that, like CBD, but I can go, all the time, and all the time is what? Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. We can definitely roll on all of that. By the way, if you want to super chat it and just get in, feel free, because we can definitely do that at any point. But today's show, we're gonna have a 3-hour show today, so no interruptions. We're gonna go hard. We're gonna go strong today at 9:20. We're gonna have Cole Patterson from Rivals.com. He's going to be in here talking about recruiting. We're gonna talk about how this game impacts recruiting on both sides of the ball. How for Texas side, for Oklahoma side, what this kind of means for both of them, what he saw in this as well. So we're going to have him in. No Jason Sukamel. Jason's on vacation. He's enjoying himself. He's on a beach somewhere, I believe, down in Florida. So I think Jason's down in the Fort Lauderdale area enjoying himself. So no Jason Sukamel today. But you got me. You got Aaron. You have Cole as well. Hope you guys enjoyed Horns Up, by the way, this morning. That was at 6:30. Always getting your day started off right here on OB Live. Horns Up starts from 6:30 to 7:30. Then, of course, followed by me, House Divided at 12. And, of course, Alex Football with Friends as they work on our country song from 3:30 to 5:30. And, of course, not tonight, but tomorrow, you'll have the Outsiders as well. So, yeah. And you're right, Rodolfo. Jason probably is wearing that hat. In fact, I want to text Jason right now and ask him right now, what color hat are you wearing? What color hat are he's probably wearing it in bed with his wife. You wear it now. Hold on a second. People on the show want to know. All right, let's see what kind of hat he's wearing and see what kind of response that Jason gives us. Other thing too that's important as we get ready to start this show, our fun-filled Tuesday. We get ready to start on our fun-filled Tuesday. I can't start without mentioning our main man, El Presidente. I cannot start the show without Eric Sells Holmes DFW. I cannot start it. And by the way, he just sent me a text message. He goes, none. Goes, but I bought my Adidas hat and a straw brim hat. Right, is what he says. So that there's your hat update instant. There's your breaking news. I can forget the Jatavian Sanders stuff that I can break on the air. How about the hat from Jason? That's what we need to know. Not wearing a hat. But he bought his Adidas hat. He's got a straw brim hat. There you go, Rodolfo. Breaking news. I ain't going to ask anything else that he's wearing. Nonetheless, Eric Sells hosts DFW. Looking for a home in the DFW area? You don't have to look any further. The Eric Sells Homes DFW. My main man, El Presidente, is in the house, representing for your Longhorns, but also representing you on the buying end, representing you on the selling end. He's going to be the person that makes sure you get the best deal no matter what side of the fence that you are on. DFW area. We're all going to be there in Arlington soon, right? We're all supposed to be there in Arlington in December. So there's no excuse. If you're looking for a home in that area, you look no further than the Eric Sells Homes DFW. Hit that QR code. Make sure you get there. And by the way, like I always joke, he's Mr. 12-0. Yeah, I think he'll settle for 11-1. That's all right. It's okay. I like that he was dreaming big. So he was close. But 11-1 won't be as bad as a consolation prize as well. So Eric Sells Homes DFW. Look him up. Check him out. Eric. There you go. All right, I'm going to tell Jason Sugarmel thanks. I'm not going to ask him to send us a picture. We don't want to see all that. We don't want to see all of that. Okay, check this out. By the way, get your buy or sell questions in the chat as well. Go ahead and start piling those things in there as I kind of recap a little bit of what Steve Sarkeesian talked about as he addressed the media on Monday. It's interesting that he chose to do that. I appreciate it, by the way. Thank you to Coach Sarkeesian for making our lives easier and deciding to address the media. Decided that he's going to talk. Usually people don't talk during Texas. You're doing the bye week. Usually after Texas OU week, most of the coaches shut it down. Sark decided to talk. Now, I can't remember if he did it last year or not. I had to look that up. But nonetheless, I appreciate him. We appreciate him coming out forward, wanting to talk and get the message out there, get answering the questions that he had and people may have had. So Sark spoke to us yesterday. He talked about, so he was asked about Jake Majors, asked about Ryan Watts from an injury standpoint. We'll start with injuries first. Asked about those guys. Pet Rooster, you say haven't gone back and watched the presser from yesterday yet. I'll give you the highlights. Of it. Save you a little bit of time so you know exactly was there. And by the way, Sark was not late because he didn't have practice yesterday. Right on time. That's why I keep telling you. That's why I keep saying it makes no sense that his press conferences don't start at 11:30 during the season. Makes no sense. I'm just started at 11:30 because he was there on time, right on time. It was actually about a minute or two early, to be honest with you. But now next week, he's going to be busy. And so next week, it's a 7:17, 7:20 kind of start time. What's wrong with saying it's 11:30? and then he has time to do whatever he needs to do, make some phone calls. He's good to go. I don't understand. It's so difficult. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just stay in my own lane. Jake Majors, Ryan Watts. Sark said that neither player will practice this week, but he hopes to have a better answer about their availability by next Monday. So just kind of a little bit of a rest thing for those guys. Rest for Jake Majors, rest for Ryan Watts, with the optimism that both of those guys will be back next week, actually. Good morning to you, SEC Matt. Good morning to you. Yeah, we're going to get into all that, SEC Matt. We're going to get into all that. And also remember that everybody's thinking and praying for your mom. So make sure, she's always not in the like thoughts and prayers corny category, but like legit. So just always remember that. We got love for you, SEC Matt. What else did he talk about? He also talked about Jalen Catalon. He said Jalen Catalon is a day-to-day designation. Catalon was injured on a first quarter on a tackle there. So he's day-to-day, so not as bad, obviously, as the aforementioned guys. And he was also asked about Jatavian Sanders. One of the things that he said was that Jatavian wasn't on a pitch count. Like X number of plays. He goes, we were just trying to monitor him on how he was moving. I think early on in the game, it was just getting adjusted to not being 100%. What did that feel like for him? And then Sarkeesian goes on to say, then I felt like he kind of got warmed up. Then he had a stretch in there that wasn't great again. And so we tried to lean back into Gunnar Helm a little bit more and then try to have him available for us in the fourth quarter. So that's kind of where we are as relates to Jatavian Sanders and all those guys as far as the injury front is concerned. He also talked about Connor Robertson coming in and playing center for Jake Majors, and said overall felt like he played pretty good. He gave a pretty positive review that he gave of Connor Robinson's performance. So he goes, one of the things he said was sure, those plays that he'd love to maybe do a little bit better. He goes, in that setting, especially some of those times when we were backed up in their crowd noise, his snaps were good. I thought he communicated relatively well at the line of scrimmage. Now, here's what's interesting about the Connor Robinson quote and Connor Robinson comment from him. One of the things I had before the season, and I had it on one of the shows. It wasn't necessarily mine. I think it may have been before this particular show got started. But the goal before the season was that they really wanted Connor Robertson to push Jake Majors. Like that was a thing. That was a goal. They felt like Connor Robinson was the bigger. I felt like the bigger guy, and he would actually help them to be a lot bigger and massive among the offensive line. So there was a hope behind the scenes that he could be a guy that pushes Jake and potentially start. Like that, there was some thought processes that, hey, maybe Connor Robinson would be better off being the starter for Texas. And then when it's all said and done, that doesn't happen, obviously, and Jake Majors takes over. But so it's interesting that, to see the Connor Robinson thing being in there, because to kind of get a glimpse into what the potential could be with Connor Robinson there as well. So anyway, Sarkeesian talked about those things. And of course, as SEC Matt alludes to, we'll start it off here. We'll go ahead and get the party started. We'll start it off here. Man, SEC Matt wakes up and chooses violence. I asked him about time management. It was one of the kind of a talking point over the weekend, especially on this channel, especially on Orange Bloods, the time management, more specifically, those last 4 minutes and change. There's been some thought, and there's been some people who have outlined that, if Texas just manages the clock better, doesn't take snaps with just 22 seconds, 28 seconds, that, hey, OU doesn't have a chance to snap the ball. There's some people who have questioned, like, hey, coach, like, You're throwing the ball, when you're down there on the 35, just run it. And Sark was kind of like, So I asked him about it because what's interesting was he was very introspective as relates to kind of being talking about his play calling on that 1st and goal. Very introspective, and started saying the things that he could have done better as a play caller and kind of how he wished he would do something different. So of course I asked him about because of course I wanted to know. So I asked Sark about that, and we had a moment. I was on Jeff and Ketch's show yesterday where I asked him about it and then time management, and then he goes to me, "Are you talking about ours, or theirs?" And of course I tell him theirs, and of course it was that moment I thought, oh, here we go again. It's gonna be Sark and I going back and forth in the press conference, me asking a question, and him. Who you asking me? Jeff Banks or me? Jeff Banks or me? And I'm like, he's like, them or them? I was like, here we go. Where once I clarified, I was like, yours. Then he gave me the answer. Thank you. No punches thrown. No punches thrown yesterday. Sark and I are cool though. Don't ever let the those things kind of what's the word? Alter your opinion. And sometimes there's a respect there. There's a respect there. So I'm not, don't get too caught up in those things. Sometimes you hit people because you love them. Right? So, some people, they spank their kids because they love them, right? That's just a Sark and I thing. It's all good. I feel there's respect on my end. I'm hoping there's some respect on their end. And I see Bo in here with his Boomer Sooner. Good morning to you, Bo. Bo, you gotta. I'm glad you're here, Bo. I am so glad that you're here. I am so glad that you're here. Well, first of all, that you're among the land of the living, and I'm so glad. Here's the cool part: is that you want to come in here on a Texas show, kind of Texas-based show, to talk your smack. You're more than welcome. You're not. I can't guarantee what's going to happen in return in the chats. No, chat line. I can't tell you what's going to happen. But hey, if you want to come in here, have your friends come in here, it's all good. To the victor goes the spoils, is what I say. And when you're victorious in the way that Oklahoma was, hey, you can go ahead and say your little boomer things. I mean, it is all good. So good morning to you as well. See, sometimes when you're nice to them, it just diffuses them. Yes. And Bo, by the way, I one of the things I said beforehand, and I'll say it again. I think when it's all said and done, I think Texas and OU will see each other one more time. And so because I think Texas and OU will see each other one more time, which I said before the game, and I will maintain it afterwards. There should be a rematch. And when that happens, it should be a lot of fun to watch. But Bo, in a few minutes, I'm going to outline why I believe there will be a rematch and all the reasons why I think Texas fans should be very encouraged and not discouraged after that loss. So let's do this, Aaron. We're at that 8:20 mark. Let's go to a quick break. And then we'll come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about what Sarkeesian said. And then kind of what I've alluded to as well. I got some other things that I want to discuss as it relates to you not panicking after one loss. Got a lot of things that I'm going to break down and get into. So when we come back, I've got a lot more show ahead. Sooner fans, Longhorn fans, Aggie fans, whoever you are, don't go anywhere. I got something for everybody. I'll be right back.
This Orange Bloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the best recruits from the Charlie Strong era, wide receiver Devin Duvernay. Duvernay was one of the top prospects that the Longhorns signed in the 2016 recruiting class, but his pathway to the Longhorns was as unconventional as anyone in that class or almost any other. The number 52 overall player in the country, number 5 player in the state of Texas, and number 8 wide receiver in the country per Rivals, the high 4-star super blue chip had one doozy of a recruitment. Before he attended a Texas Junior Day in February of 2015, he told Orange Bloods' Jason Sukumel that the Longhorns were front and center in his recruitment. Quote, "They're in it. I like Texas. Grew up liking Texas," Duvernay said. "When I've been there, I like them. With the new staff, I like what they're doing. I think the program will be back pretty soon." Yet Baylor, the first school to actually offer Duvernay a scholarship, was always a school that had his attention. It also had his brother Donovan's attention as well, as he made the jump to commit to Baylor in September of 2015. 2 months later, Devin joined him, choosing the Bears over Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. That's right, no Texas among his initial group of finalists. That was pretty much that for Duvernay, as he signed in February of 2016 with the Bears. But Duvernay decided to explore other options after a sexual assault scandal surrounding the Baylor program and the subsequent firing of head coach Art Briles. It was later discovered that Duvernay's national letter of intent was never properly submitted by Baylor, making him immediately open to other programs. After not having the Longhorns among his original finalists, Duvernay signed with the Longhorns in June of 2016. And once Baylor released his brother, he also joined the Longhorns' 2016 recruiting class. When it was all said and done, Baylor's loss turned out to be one hell of a game for the Texas football program, who added one of the best receivers in school history.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Went ahead and got my little. Are these bad for me, by the way? Are these bad for me? Aaron's shaking his head. Yes, these are bad. What's the bad part about it? Like, what's it gonna do? Like, I'm kind of. What if I do a sugar-free one? Is that bad as well? What about 5-hour energy drinks? Are those bad for me? Or do I need to start getting B12 shots or something? And somebody let me know, because I need some energy. And if there's some other way for me to get energy, I need to know. And don't just say get a night's sleep. So tell me what I'm doing wrong. And if these are wrong, these are bad, then I need the alternative. I don't need Unk's heart exploding on me in another couple of years. So if I shouldn't be drinking these things, then let me know. And by the way, he is correct. Put those buy or sell questions in the chat, because we're going to have those as well. Tell me why these things are bad. I don't know. I've heard it may be, but then I get the energy. I was just like, I don't know. So let me know as I drink the bad stuff in front of you. Like, is this bad? Yes. I don't know why. I'll keep drinking it. He was asked, the time management thing ended up being something that we talked about. Good morning, Mike Torres. Bad loss again, Mike, over the weekend. Bad loss by our Often FC. Just after that 3-0, we decided to go, let's just go ahead and get our butts picked. But, Mike, real quick, I'm an Arsenal fan, so you know how happy I am. Really happy. So I felt a lot better when it was all said and done, Mike. Just kind of throw that out there, Mike Torres. My dude, Mike. Real good dude. Real good dude. A lot of good people. He was asked about the time management thing and the RPO stuff. And so what he said is, when I asked him about that last drive, Sarkeesian we're talking about. When I asked him about the last drive, and I kind of like, hey, so when we went to that introspective, like, hey, on goal line, I probably would have done certain things different on first and goal, right? Because they don't walk away with any points. And so I thought, wow, Sarkeesian's very introspective at this moment. And so because he's very introspective, Zio _ shut up. Hey, I'm good, Zio. I'm good. I'm good, baby. I'm good, baby. Don't worry about it. I listen, just understand Zio _ V. Uncle rally when he needs to. Trust me. Uncle rally when he needs to, okay? It don't mean I won't be paying for it for a couple of days, but trust. I'm okay. I'm okay. Trust me. I just want to make sure I'm around for a little while, though. That's the only thing. Man, y'all, listen. You stop being disrespectful over there, SEC Hook'em. I don't have pills for that. I don't need y'all are being disrespectful right now. Y'all being very, very disrespectful right now. And look, I would have been, so we clear. if a blue pill needs to happen, I'm not above it. I'll take some performance-enhancing drugs in a minute. What? I'll Barry Bonds that thing. I'll Sammy Sosa that thing. What? I'll Mark McGuire that thing. You don't sleep on me now. I'll take a performance-enhancing drug if necessary. What? That's like it's going from 40 home runs to 60. Sure, I don't care. I'll pop them things like Tic Tac if I need them. Don't worry about that. I don't need them so far. But I'm just saying, I'm being very, very disrespectful. I'm just talking about I just need energy in the day in order to get through. But outside of that, don't get when that time comes, man. You ain't gotta worry about me. I'll get my Canadian prescriptions. So I can get some cheaper ones, and I'll guarantee you, go to the gas station, get the gas station ones. Y'all got me on some crazy stuff. Man, I'll go Sammy Sosa on that thing. Just don't worry about it. There's no shame in Unk's game. I'll pop. See you in an hour. All right. So on the time management thing, he was asked if I'm not gonna read the chat anymore. You guys are tripping on me. He said he would handle the thing exactly the same. He said the first down they had an RPO play that they called. He said they had been affected with that all day long. He said, "Oh, you did a good job," and Texas took a stack. And in his mind, after that, he said they needed to make sure that they got a field goal. So they threw the bubble screen to Worthy to put them in 3rd and long. And then he said coming into that 3rd and long, he knew where Burt was in terms of his comfort level. So he goes, if you throw a pass and it's incomplete, then you're out of range. So they ran it. He said he wouldn't change anything at all about what he had did. So I mean, and again, there's probably a question that could have been asked at some point. And there's probably the tempo question as to relates of when you hiking the ball at 22 seconds, 28 seconds, all that kind of stuff. Like what? Jeezy laughing. Those Zio, how you know about these Jaguar pills or the Exxon? Like what's going on? I don't even know. I see them. Do they work, by the way? I'm just asking for a friend. Now go ahead and really tell on yourself. There's probably a better question as relates to that. And I'll be honest with you, it's probably if it rears its head again, there's probably a question that I need to ask as relates to when you're snapping and taking the ball on the clock. Like at what point are you doing those things? And so I probably need to get into that at some point with him. But again, where we're at right now, where it hadn't been an issue before. I can't. It's like, all right, how much of an issue do we make it into now? So we're kind of like, all right, he's kind of put it out there. He's let us know. All right. Well, this is now if they lose and it happens again, then I think it's like, okay, hold on, dude. This is a clear cut issue, clear cut thing. And I know Ketch has mentioned what's happened. Obviously, he felt like in the Kansas game, and of course this game as well. Kansas game results in a blowout. This game results in a loss. Kind of ends up being a wash, right? So then we got to figure out, okay, from there, how do we address it? So we'll address it at that point, and see. But like I say, he did say that he would do it exactly the same. I want to make sure. So I got that whole thing covered as far as that's concerned. By the way, buy or sell, please go ahead and get those things in the chat right now, so I can make sure I address that. One of the other things that I asked Sarkeesian yesterday was I wanted to know what went wrong on that final drive. What from a defensive standpoint. What happened. And he gave a really good answer. He actually gave a very good answer as to what went wrong, and I was really appreciative of that one. The question I asked about the final drive was earlier. This other one, as far as the time management stuff, that was a little bit later, towards very, very end. I was actually able to get in 2 questions at a press conference, which, by the way, very rarely, if ever, happens. Like that thing doesn't really happen because it's usually packed in there. It's usually packed where you can only get one in. And yeah, I was able to get two. Bandwagon reporters. Like, where are you? They could come back when they win, and now all of a sudden I can't get any more questions in. We need to start doing stuff based off of seniority. That's how we should start doing questions. But there you go, Bianco. Now go. Kurt Bowles goes first, so we can get the bad questions out of the way, and then everybody. I'm just messing with you, Kurt. I'm just messing with you, Mr. Bowles. No, I'm just joking on the seniority thing. It was all good. Yesterday, I was actually able to get into two questions, and so the second one was someone's going to tell Bowles about that. And be like, man, I almost said you asked bad questions. I'm like, well, sometimes you actually does. But I mean, that's probably everybody. So, I can critique every, it is what it is. My show. I don't give a damn. Good morning to everybody by taking your kids to school, by the way. So good morning to everyone taking those kids to school today. Listening to me in the car as you have the children in there. I try to make sure I am family friendly for you. Hopefully the blue pills was elusive enough that you didn't have to, Daddy, what's a blue pill? Like, can I tell you, sidebar, something's dumb my kid did yesterday that I had to have a FaceTime conversation with his mom about. There's something out there, some sort of like beat a melatonin. I don't know if it's a challenge or something. My son, 10-year-old son, decided yesterday, this knucklehead, no, on Sunday, he's over at his mom's house. And he decided like it's some sort of if you can beat melatonin kind of challenge. Does anyone want to know what the hell's going on? In any case, he decided to take some melatonin during the day to see if he can stay awake, and then he ends up sleeping all day. And so his grandmother's worried about him, his aunt's worried about him, and then eventually somebody who was there when the kids kind of snitched on him yesterday, which is fine because that's what needed to happen. And then all of a sudden, now I'm having a conversation with this boy about these things. And last night that happened. Being a parent, boy, Aaron, Cotton, Rodolfo, man, y'all just wait. You just wait. Rodolfo's drunk up show coming back. I don't know. The hard part. Can I tell you about? I'll tell you about the hard part about the drunk show that you're asking, Rodolfo. It's not that I wouldn't like to do it every once in a while. The hard part is our producers. I'll be honest with you guys, they're working a lot. They work a lot of hours. I mean, Aaron gets in here. I mean, their show starts at 6:30. So I mean, he's probably up at 5:30 getting started on that. He's also trying to work on my show because he produces my show. So he's doing a show live. Then he's working on my show. So by the time like Aaron, we get done at 11, and he's been working, started at 5. That's already 6 hours that he's already put in. It has nothing to do with Orange Bloods. Nothing to do with OB. Then you got Blake, who's doing shows from morning time, from basically noon until late at night. Certain specific days. So it's just really hard. I don't want to tax them a little bit. So I won't say RIP. It'll come back at some point. It'll be RIP. It'll come back at some point. We'll do it every once in a while. But I can't. It's got to be careful. And then the other part too, like if I do the show at night, and I still got to do another show in the morning. Like y'all killing me. I already told you I'm popping this stuff, hoping my heart doesn't explode. And so you want me to do another show? Good Lord. But no, at some point, it's going to be one of those, this is going to be a random pop-up show, but we'll do it when things are good, when y'all are happy. I'm not going to do it when you guys are upset. And we also got the Outsiders that do things a couple of nights a week too. So we'll figure it out. We'll get it going. Okay. So anyway, so I asked him about the final drive. about the final drive. Yeah, we'll bring it back. We'll do something. We'll figure it out. I asked him about that final drive. And then he was able to tell me. So he kind of goes in there. He talked about missed tackle on the sideline. where it should have been able to kind of wrap up the receiver. You let them get, they talked about letting them get out of bounds. He said on the first down from the 48, Gabriel was pressured, but then he stepped up in a pocket with the appearance that he might run. But then he found Stoops again over the middle for a catch and run for a gain of 28 to the Texas 20. So then, so he starts breaking it down a little bit. Then he starts talking about a little bit of miscommunication on the back end where our two safeties are playing, one coverage and everybody else is playing another coverage, which was a really fascinating thing when he said that. Because the Gabriel thing was interesting because Gabriel showed himself to be a runner where all of a sudden they kind of seemingly were on their heels as relates to how do you defend this guy. And then that thing happens as far as like they think he's going to run, and that's the other thing. But then when he talked about the miscommunication on the back end, he said, well, our two safeties are playing one coverage and everybody else is playing another coverage. What? That can't happen. That can't happen. It's a very honest answer. I appreciate the honesty. That no matter what, I will say this. About Sark, I don't feel he's BSing. He's not. I've never felt like he's BSing at any of his answers. I appreciate that he's not playing games, and I appreciate when he's honest. And Sark is the kind of person. I mean, he keeps it a buck where he's like, I'm not going to answer that. He's like, he's not going to answer that. It just is what it is. So I'm okay with that, and I appreciate that he said that there was that miscommunication that occurred. And then he goes in turn, the same common theme, defensively reared its ugly head. We didn't have really good pass rush lanes. So Gabriel was able to really step back in the pocket and give the illusion that he was going to run. That forced Jalen Ford to have to try to come up. And then Gabriel finds Stoops behind them for a 30-yard gain. But what in reality all started with, we weren't on the same page from a coverage standpoint. So I found that to be very interesting as far as that was concerned. He talked about the need to get better on the red zone. Red zone, of course, 2-minute, of course. And then the other interesting thing was a lot of you guys have pointed out. He talked about they got to get better at the return game, and I would have to agree. I actually, another thing I was wrong about, I'm the problem admitted, but I was wrong about. I thought Xavier would have a touchdown punt return over the last 2 games. That was my bold prediction. That's going to happen. It's not. It didn't happen. And one of the things Sark said is like, hey, we've got too good of guys, too quality of guys to not be getting more out of that. And yeah, there was one in there that I think it was kind of a just an unfortunate thing where I think Xavier does a fair catch on a 5-yard line. Where you got to let that ball just kind of bounce and try to roll in. You don't necessarily take it from there. They're not necessarily. They're the other one that bounced. There was another one that bounced a little bit further, but I don't think there was anything they could do about that. But getting more out of the return game, getting more out of the punt, kickoff returns. That's something that Sark says they've got too good of an athletes for that not to happen. And so, yeah, I think when I look at that punt game, but return game, that's got to improve, and I think it's not unfair to say you want to see more from a person who is one of the best receivers in the nation, one of the fastest guys on the team. And again, it's not all him. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's not a criticism as much as it is a critique. I'm sure he would say the same thing. So, just a little bit more out of the return game is what you would like to see. A little bit more positive yards out of that. I tried to think the other things that Sark talked about. He talked about the positivity of Bert Auburn. The other thing that he said was interesting. This is for you guys. This is for you guys. By you guys, I mean Longhorn fans. He said he wished he would have played Jonte Cook more. And that's for you guys who asked me all about Jordan Whittington, which I don't know if you guys are still on the, I need to see more Jonte than Jordan Whittington. I don't know if this past game was enough for you. I don't know if this was a game that you said to yourself, like, it's all good. Or did you just say, well, if Jonte had gotten that ball, Jonte would have scored, and the ball would have never been down on the 1 yard line. Like, is I don't know where you guys are at as far as that is concerned. But he did say he needs to play Cook a little bit more. I find it very interesting. Here's my hot take. Here's a take that do you think Tom G? You think he meant Jonte in place of AD? Well, that could be it. I don't know. That could be it. That you might be right, Tom G, as relates to that, because we'll get into the Adonai Mitchell thing for a second. The thing about Adonai, which is, how can I say it? Adonai is good at catching passes. He's good at the getting open portion. He's not so good in the other things that you need him to be good at, the blocking portion, the fighting for balls portion. There's other things about his game that I think just need to improve. And I think there's some development that needs to happen with him as far as that is concerned. So I like him, but it can't just be I'm good at one particular thing. Like, to be well-rounded, you've got to be good at all these other things as well. And again, it's a critique more than anything else. But you definitely, when you guys start talking about effort, that's the thing that I look at him. When you see Xavier out there, you're getting effort, right? We know that. You see him, going and busting his ass out there for sure. Say what you want to say about Jordan Whittington, but you can see the effort that he's giving you at all times. Say what you want to say about him. Adonai, can't always say that. You know what? That interception that occurred is probably not on Quinn. It's probably a little bit more on him than anything else. The blocking portion is somewhat non-existent. So there's a little bit things that need to improve. And I'm sure somebody, one of his peoples will hear this, see this, and I'm sure I'll get some sort of message at some point. But I think if they're objective, they would absolutely say that, you know what, the critiques are more than fair as relates to that. I think those were the main things. The Tavian, the Gunnar Helm thing. Oh, this is my hot take. He started talking about wanting to see more of Jonte Cook, and of course, they still had a mention of CJ Baxter. So for me, I feel like if you're a five-star, Sark's like, hey, I want to make sure you get on the field. That's what's important. That's going to be important going forward. Obviously not necessarily the quarterback, but that's important going forward. So yeah, those are the kind of things I know. It's like, that was kind of interesting that he decided to go ahead and mention that. So yeah, just those are the main highlights of Sarkeesian's press conference. Nothing else from Sarkeesian for the rest of the week. There'll be no media availability, and then we'll resume that on Monday. All right, Aaron, let's go ahead and do another break. And then when we come back from the second break, we will have buy or sell. Get all the what in the it's Rodolfo, my God. Get all of your buy or sell questions in the chat while we're on break. Fill them up. Get them in. Go out to Exxon. Buy or sell is coming up next.
One of our very first Orange Bloods recruiting flashbacks will focus on a player that went on to become one of the best running backs in the history of the sport. Jamal Charles was a high 4-star prospect by Rivals.com when he signed with the Longhorns in 2005, finishing number 57 overall in the Rivals 100 and number 4 overall in the state of Texas. Personally, I had Jamal Charles as a 5-star prospect on my Lone Star Recruiting Top 100 list, but I have to admit that I wasn't head over heels in love with him the first time I watched his junior film as a prospect. It's hard for me to admit this out loud, but I actually had questions about his speed and whether he was really as fast as his track exploits suggested he was. Ultimately, he was scoring touchdowns as a junior at Memorial by such wide margins that he really never had to open up his speed on the field as much as he just seemed to coast. It didn't take me long to figure out that questioning his speed was one of the dumbest things I've ever done while working in this industry, and that's probably saying something. The most dramatic part of his recruitment might have come on the day he decided to commit to the Longhorns, because when he picked up the phone to call running backs coach Mike Haywood, no one was there to take the call. Charles told Jason Sukamel of OrangeBloods.com that he would call Mac Brown back the next day and make it official, and that's exactly what he did. The hit rate for the class was exceptional, as Charles was joined by the likes of Henry Melton, Roy Miller, Jermichael Finley, Roderick Muckleroy, Quan Cosby, Chris Hall, Charlie Tanner, and of course, Colt McCoy. When it's all said and done, and you look back at the last quarter century of Rivals.com ranking prospects, Jamal Charles is one of the greatest Longhorn prospects that ever lived.
All right, go ahead and get those buy or sells in here. I don't know about Jamal Charles. His daughter trains. I ran into him a few weeks ago. His daughter trains at the same basketball place that my son trains at, and so we had a chance to talk for a little bit. This is a few weeks ago and kind of chop it up a little bit there, but. You know, I told you, my kid's he's a soccer kid, but I'm still keeping that basketball thing going. Still things that translate. So we do basketball training, but soccer is his thing. Keeper is his love and his passion. And a couple of weeks from now, he's gonna be going to Paris, going to do some training and fun stuff over there with PSG. So that should be good. I will not be going. His mom is going. His mom will take him. His mom is my ex. So there's no need for me to go with my ex to one of the most romantic places on earth to spend a week together. It's kind of awkward. He's over there training. Well, my ex, would you like to go to the Eiffel Tower? I'm like, nah, you can handle all that. Y'all send me pictures. I'll be okay. I'll be all right. Okay, so I want to do some buy or sell. I want to get some questions in here. Let's go ahead and knock some of these out. Go ahead and get your questions in here as well. Let's make this an interactive thing. Let's make this an interactive buy or sell. Fun buy or sell. I got Cole Patterson coming at 9:20 a.m. Rodolfo says, if I'm going to make that trip, might have another kid on the way. Nope, Rodolfo. That's not going to happen. Unc shooting blanks. Took care of that one a while ago, so don't worry about that. I'm going to shoot up the club, but nobody's dying. Darian said Kansas, Jalen Daniels would have exposed the Texas D. It would help make improvements early before the OU game. Buy or sell? That's an interesting question. Because they knew that Jalen Milroe was a good runner, not a great passer. They definitely understood that he would be. I think so. Darian, here's the problem with that. I think Texas would have been prepared for Jalen Daniels for both sides of what he's able to do, and were prepared for that. I don't think they were, honestly, Darian. I don't think they were prepared for Dillon Gabriel as a runner. And if you look at his stats prior to that game, it wasn't like this is like what he does. Like this is just he's 100-yard rusher. Like usually he's in the 20s, something to that effect. Like, but that wasn't really what was on his resume. This thing kind of ended up being an in-game adjustment that took off for Oklahoma. So I don't know. I don't think he would have exposed the deal. That's probably why I would sell on this. I don't think Dan's would expose it because they would have been ready for it. I think Dillon Gabriel brought something to the table that Texas, no one saw that thing coming. Because no one saw that thing coming, I think that's what made that one somewhat challenging and kind of problematic for Texas. So I would sell on that one. I know Super Chat came in. So we go ahead. Super Chats go take to the front of the line, baby. Like come on the VIP. Open up the velvet rope. You come on in, get the bottles. Chris Denman, good morning to you. What's up, Anwar? Good morning. Salute to you, Chris. Buy or sell. Sark and PK will convert Anthony Hill into a full-time pass rusher, as the pass rusher has gotten weaker the last few games. A full-time pass rusher taken out of his current role? I don't know. I think I might sell on that one, Chris. I think if you ask me, will he receive more playing time as the season goes along, second half of the season, my answer to that would probably be yes. I think developing him in the role that he has is kind of more important, just not only for this year, but for the following year. So I get where you're at, but I mean, first of all, I love that. I love that Anthony Hill picked up a dude, and I felt like in mid-air, he's like, "Ooh, I can't doing too dirty." So he's like, I'll just do that. Because I felt like he was really going to do that. And I felt like he went, I don't want to get a penalty. So I felt like there was that with him. And that was awesome to see. But no, I think he's good at where he's at. I think he's good to develop where he's at and develop the things that he's doing at this moment. So good question, Chris. Good question. Chris, and feel free to put another question in there as well if you want to, super chat or not. Major Alexander, buy or sell? OU drops a game before the end of the season. Buy. I'll buy that. I'm not. They got to go on the road at Kansas. I think that's a tough game for them. I think they were able to get up for Texas, that no doubt. But if you tell me, is OU going to run the table? Nah, I'll tell you. I'll pull it up. I'll tell you what I feel like are the dangerous games for Oklahoma. As I looked at their schedule yesterday. Obviously, I don't have it memorized like a Texas schedule, so forgive me for taking the time to look through it now. Where's Bo at? Is he going to predict they're going to go undefeated? UCF is able to win against them. At Kansas, I don't know. At Oklahoma State wins Bedlam like once every 40 years. West Virginia is an interesting team for them, but that's actually in OU. BYU's trash. TCU's tricky. But it's at OU. I look at that Kansas game in a couple of weeks, and I point to myself, and I'll say that's what I think is tricky for them, and I think the TCU one is tricky for them as well. So yeah, they've got another loss in them, maybe two, but more than likely one. I think they got one more. Which, by the way, it's a pretty damn good season, and that's where they're at. And it could be interesting because Texas and OU could enter the Big 12 championship game, both sitting at 11-1, which would be crazy, amazing there. But good question, Major. Very good question. Thank you. I like it. Thank you so much. Oh, we got another one. Sell. Jay Witt is always open, and they just don't throw him the ball. Sell on that one. That would indicate that I would think that Quinn Ewers is missing him, and I haven't seen times where I felt like Quinn Ewers was missing Jordan Whittington. So not at all. And just more, there are other guys that now he's good on the underneath, right? I think that's where Jordan Whittington is bread and butter, on the underneath. It's just the long, go for a bomb, go ham, nah, I wouldn't go that far. I think that, Chalmers Jordan is that speed, that breakaway speed that you need. That's the only thing that if he had a little bit more, he probably scores a little bit more. But as it is, he's a really good, solid underneath possession receiver. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. And you can make a living doing that in college. What else we got? Rodolfo, Mr. 21 himself. 21. Can you do something for me? Buy or sell? Isaiah Nayor, a.k.a. Tori O 2.0 will be in the transfer portal. I'll buy on that. I'll buy. Yeah, I'll buy. He can't. So he can go into it with the thought process that, hey, maybe Xavier's going next year. He's got a shot to play, but Jonte Cook is going to step into that role. They've got other guys who are young that are going to step into that role. And I think at the end of the day, I think Isaiah Nayor, yes. And how can I be careful about how I say this? You meant Troy O. Okay, I didn't know who Torio was. I was like, well, that must be some young reference that I forgot. I will say I have reasons to believe that Isaiah Nayor isn't happy right now. So I would totally buy on the possibility that he's going to leave after the season. Yeah, I'll buy on that one. Which, by the way, you got to shoulder shrug that. When you got a good team, you got depth. Just know guys are going to leave. You can't overreact to it. Just understand guys are going to bounce. It just is what it is. But you know that if guys bounce, you've got good people who are coming in after them, and that's what counts. Scott in Texas, buy or sell? Horn fans become OU fans on November the 11th to beat West Virginia. I don't know. Is there a scenario that you can see yourself rooting? I get you. I know the math thing that you're doing, right? I get the tiebreaker situation. I get all that. Could you bring yourself to cheer for OU? Like fan, like to be at a sports bar. So, let's go, Dylan. Come on, let's go, baby. Come on, Venables. Let's get this thing going. Like, I don't see you doing that. So I see you maybe watching and saying to yourself, that'd be good. But I can't see you guys being fans. So I'll sell on that one. Good question, but nah. I think you want them to win, but and I know I'm taking it a little bit too literal. But yes, at the end of the day, yeah, I think you would like that just for the tiebreaker possibility. So yeah, so I'm buying and selling. I think I said both. I think I said both. Okay, all right, I got you, Scott. If it ensures a rematch, then yes, for 3.5 hours, fair enough. Dem is gonna be back with the super chats. I'll be with you in a second. But I got chill out X Black. Chill out X Black. All right, chill out X Black. All right, that means something. That means something in your world. DJ chill out. Buy or sell? Quarterback sneak at the 1 yard lines ends with a touchdown instead of a 4 and out. You know, it's so funny you say this. I was having a conversation with somebody about this yesterday. I don't know if this is their alias or not. I don't think so. I'm going to tell you my pet peeve when it comes to coaches. I don't care. I don't care who sends this to Sark and all that kind. I don't care. Go ahead and report back what you do. I hate when teams are on whatever in short to line up in shotgun and hand off. The quarterback is right there at that yard line. You only need one. Let your QB run this thing in and call it a day. Let him lean in and get somewhere and call it a day. 2 against 1. I cannot stand. Nothing. I think I've tweeted this before. You don't run a QB sneak when you're on the 1. You don't deserve to win. So yeah, I'm 100% there. Like you. And the first couple of times that they stop it, man, put that thing in, man. All right, and also, where is it? Do I have it in front of me? Hold on. I got this in front of me. Hold on one second. Let me say this to further this point, because you're really you're talking my language, son. Where is he? Okay, Malik. If you want to go Malik Murphy, Aaron, 6'5", 238. Put Malik Murphy in to run a QB sneak. Put that big dude in. I don't need him on a swoops package. I don't need you doing all that. You don't have to do the most. But if you want to go ahead and get this thing in, put Murphy in. Let him be your Tebow guy, right? And then run that thing in. I am with you. I just demand QB sneaks. Don't overthink it. Don't think too hard. Anything like that. And then you put that in, and then you've got Sweat and Murphy that can give you a push. All that. Just put those guys in. I hate lining up in shotgun. Like, why are you lining up 5-6 yards away when you're literally 1 yard away? Don't. Okay. Anyway, that's it. Yes, buy. 100% buy. You got into my head. I don't know how you found out what I was talking about yesterday, but you got into my head. Stoopsified in here stirring the pot. Hey, to the victor goes the spoil. Stoopsified's in here. Bo's in here. To the victor goes the spoil. They're going to talk their crap. But good morning to you. Chris Dedman, he says, buy or sell. Has Sark slowed down on a deep ball? Yeah, that seems a little bit of a buy, right, Chris? Like it feels like we saw a lot of those play callings, and we haven't seen that over the past few weeks. So yeah, I will buy on that one. Now, to be fair, Chris, at the end of the day, they have over 500 yards of offense, right? So in the critique of the deep ball, understand they are putting up yards and they are putting up points. So that's not necessarily the issue. But has he slowed down on it? Yeah, absolutely. It's not bombs over Baghdad like it used to be. I would say that's fair. What else we got? We got some more, Aaron? Okay, good. Glad you guys are here. Glad you guys are in the chat. Appreciate you. Horns up, 512. Buy or sell, Jaden Blue transfers after the year. I'll buy on that. I mean, sure. Just say Jonathan Brooks goes pro. You still know CJ Baxter's around. You still got Trey Wisner around. You got whoever they may pick up in the transfer portal. So yeah. I would, if I had to put money on it, guessing and not having any evidence, but guessing, sure, I would definitely guess on that one that he does transfer after. Yeah, so yeah, I'll buy on that one. So a couple more. Cotton was good because we only blitzed 12 times. Dylan Gabriel, 3 or more seconds for a pass rush. We need to at least double that amount. It's interesting you say that because that's one of the things that Sark talked about yesterday, Cotton, was that sometimes when you do too much of that, the blitzing thing, one of the things he said was that you kind of leave yourself open, because the edge guys kind of get pushed out more and the possibility of run happens. So I would sell on that one, but fantastic question. Fantastic. Let's do like 2 more, then we'll do a quick break. Rodolfo, buy or sell Sark watches a show. Ooh, I'll buy. I'll buy. I don't think he watches it from start to finish, but I think he knows, he's well aware of what's out there, well aware of what's said. So yeah, I'll definitely buy on that one. Yeah, I'll definitely buy on that one. And last one for right now. Scott in Texas is back. You would have thrown on 2nd and 3rd instead of 4th to a larger receiver? I would have tried. I would have ran Malik Murphy in on the one. To be quite honest with you, that's what I would have done. I would have probably ran Malik Murphy in on the 1 yard line. Yeah. That would have been what I did. Give me my big quarterback and let him use that strength and that muscle. So yeah, that's what I would have done. So Sal. All right, let's do this, Aaron. Let's go to a quick break. Then after our break, we'll come back. There's some more topics, Longhorn Talkables, that I want to talk to you about. The reasons why you shouldn't panic. We got some more buy or sell. We got social media standouts. And, of course, we got Cole Hudson coming in. Do not go anywhere. I'll be right back.
This Orange Bloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the biggest UT football stars of the last decade. Bijan Robinson was a 5-star prospect by Rivals when he signed with the Longhorns, finishing as the nation's number 18 overall prospect, the second best prospect in the state of Arizona, and the number 1 running back in the country, according to Rivals.com. Upon retrospect, it's kind of amazing that former running backs coach Stan Drayton was able to land Robinson when you consider that Ohio State was perceived as a massive leader for much of his recruitment. In fact, on the day he committed, Rivals.com recruiting analyst Adam Gorney told Orange Bloods, quote, even after the Atlanta 5-star challenge, it almost felt like Ohio State was the foregone winner, Gorney said that day. But as it got closer, I think the realization that he would basically be going across the country to play football kind of set in. He really, really liked Texas and USC a lot, had connections to both schools, liked the staffs, and how they would use him, and wound up finding a school closer to home that he was very happy with. It wasn't until Robinson visited Texas on an unofficial visit for the spring game in April that Texas began to make it surge. By the time June rolled around, a couple of months later, the Longhorns had emerged as a team to beat in his recruitment. Robinson was a part of a 2020 recruiting class that finished 14th in the nation that year in the Rivals.com rankings, and what turned out to be the final full recruiting class for Tom Herman. A few years later, and there's not a ton of meat on the bone with respects to the elite prospects from that year outside of Robinson. Jake Majors and Jaron Thompson remain as a few of the higher ranked players in that class, but it's actually 2 of the lower ranked prospects in the class, Jahdae Barron and Jalen Ford, that have made the biggest impact as the class begins to wrap up its contribution to the Texas football program.
And Bijan Robinson scored a few points to help me get to a fantasy victory over the weekend. So I appreciate Bijan. Here's a cool thing about Bijan. I don't know if you guys know. You guys probably don't know this story. But Bijan, when he had his press conference to announce that he was going to go pro, after his press conference, he literally went up to every media member, every single one, and shook their hands and told them thank you for all the coverage over the past 3 years. Every single person said, thank you, appreciate you. Every single one, whether it was TV, whether it was a radio person, whether there's someone who wrote something. I got the bro hug. They got the handshake. You guys ever watch that Key and Peele skit where it's like the president, and guys know what I'm talking about? And it's like, hello, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? My man. Like that. And so that's what it was kind of like that with Bijan for a little bit. It's like, hello, thank you. What up? So it was kind of fun, but he's a good dude, man. Just a really good dude. You just gotta hope for the best for him. So props to him. And by the way, 20 minutes, 10 actually about 10 minutes time. Looks like Cole will be in here for us to have the conversation on recruiting. what this game does, not only for OU perspective, but for a Texas perspective. Does this game help OU in recruiting? He'll be able to tell us that. How does it help with Texas in recruiting? What does it do there? So Cole Patterson, Rivals.com will be in to break all down, like I said, in about 10 minutes. So I need to get to my subjects as well. So here's where I'm at as relates to this whole loss, everything we're talking about. I said it earlier. I said it in the first hour. I'll say it again, and I've said it last week, and I'll say it again as well this week. I said before that I felt like Texas and OU would play each other twice in the season, and nothing changed after Saturday's game. I still feel like Texas and OU will play each other twice. That's kind of where I'm leaning on. That's kind of where I'm resting on. And as I started looking to, I went and kind of started breaking down some of the numbers and some of the stats as relates to this. And I think here's the thing. I think I've said something like this with you guys before, but it's worth repeating at this moment. People like you, and I mean you. I would literally mean you who are watching, you who are in the chats, the Rodolfos, the SEC Mats, the Stoopsifieds, or the Bows, or the Texas Mama. Which, by the way, is Texas Mama in the house? I don't know if Texas Mama said hello this morning. She's usually one of the first in the chat, so I don't know if she said it's something. I know South End Zone Queen is usually watching somewhere, but nonetheless, I don't remember Texas Mama being around this morning. Kind of threw me off. Did Colby say hello? I don't remember Colby said hello either. I don't remember. I got to do a roll call, but anyway, I'll start going through. There's like 100 names that I have in my head of people who comment, like just another fragrance reviewer. Where was he this morning? I don't remember seeing just another fragrance reviewer. Where are y'all? Abandoning me. And then nonetheless, but I start the thing about you guys that you have to always remember is that when it comes to being a sports fan, you are a next level sports fan. Like that's the thing. You're not like the average person, and I seriously, I don't mean this as just here where I'm going. You're not the average. The average person watched the game on Saturday, and then that was it. And they said yay or darn, and then they went about their business. But you watched a post-game show. You got on the Oklahoma message board if you're an OU fan, or you got on the Texas message board, orangebloods.com if you're a Texas fan, right? And then you watch and caught up on everything. So because your knowledge is far superior from a sporting knowledge perspective than the majority of people who are fans. And so what happens with people like you who are that smart, who are that educated, who are that in tune with all the topics, sometimes you can overanalyze things to the point where you might miss certain things and you might have to take a step back because your brain will tell you everything is horrible. And then, but if you take a step back, you have to realize, like, well, actually, it's not that bad. It's just I'm thinking about red zone. This is you. Like, I'm talking about you, speaking for you, because you're thinking about red zone and you're thinking about third down efficiency. And you're thinking about what happened on first and goal. Like, there's people with the conversations that we're having right now. The average people are not having these conversations. They just aren't. And so that's why it's so easy to tell you stuff like, oh my gosh, because it's like you're in the matrix. You guys are like in the matrix of sports fans, right? You've got all this data and information that comes into you and comes into your brain. Props to you. But sometimes you need someone like me. Sometimes you need an unk like me that says, okay, let me take you out of the matrix. Let me have you sit down for a second. And let me go over this stuff with you so you understand really where it is. And so as relates to the conversation about Texas, and as relates about the Longhorns, as we have this conversation, right? The thing is that it's not as bad as one would think. And I think it's bad and it feels bad because it's OU. And look, I get it. You don't want to lose to your rival. And so when you lose to your rival, all of a sudden, it's like, my gosh, the worst thing that can happen. But then let's look at where Texas really is at. And when we look at where Texas is at, and I'll probably, when Cole comes in, I'll stop and I'll recap it. I'll get this thing restarted. But I'll start it. Let me start with here. I know I talked to you yesterday. We know the rest of the schedule, right? At Houston, BYU, K-State, at TCU, at Iowa State, and then, of course, Texas Tech, right? 6 games left. When you look at the 6 games that are left right now, Texas will face 2 teams that currently have a winning record as of today. That might change come next week and the week after that, so on and so forth. There's only 2 teams that have a winning record right now. That's K-State sitting at 3-2, and that's BYU sitting at 4-1. Okay? But now let's look at some rankings that are really important to have this conversation to understand. Okay, that happened. Texas is 5-1 after it's all said and done. All right. At the end of the day, the majority of you out there had Texas finishing the season at 10-2. Right? That just the majority of you. 10-2 is probably where we were going into the season. So and one of the losses that you had was Alabama. So you end up being ahead, but you also gave Texas a conference loss. And most of you thought it could be OU, it might be a TCU, maybe it's a K-State, maybe it's a Texas Tech, but you gave your team one conference loss. Think about that for a second. So when we think about the totality of what your expectations were going into the season to where Texas is right now, the only thing that has been taken away has been the conversation about the college football playoffs. That's the only thing we're taking off the table for right now. And everything else, if you're being honest with yourself, if you take a step back, your team is kind of where you thought it might be around this midway point. The majority of us, outside of El Presidente, thought Texas would probably be 5-1 going into the bye, right? And where is Texas at this moment? 5-1 going into the bye. So it's, quote unquote, it's not as bad as you thought. If we're being honest, it's right around where you thought this whole thing would be. Now look at the teams. Houston. They've got the 8th ranked offense in the Big 12 and the Big 12's worst ranked defense, 14. 8th ranked offense, 14th on defense. Okay. BYU has the worst offense in the Big 12, 14th ranked offense, 7th ranked defense. Technically, that should be 2. K-State, 6 on offense, 5 on defense. Okay, there you go. TCU, 5th on offense, 8th on defense. Okay, pay attention to them. And then there's Iowa State. Their offense is ranked 13th in the Big 12. Now, the defense is ranked 4th, but they can't score worth a crap. So it doesn't matter. And then Texas Tech, 10th ranked offense, 10th ranked defense. So only one of Texas's remaining opponents has an offense that is ranked within the top 5 of the Big 12. Only one, and that's TCU at number 5. And only 2 teams that are left on the schedule have a defense that's even ranked in the top 5. That's Iowa State, which can't score worth a damn, but they got a 4th ranked defense. And that's K-State, which is ranked 5th. So now, when you start looking at it on paper, the 2 toughest games that Texas has remaining on the rest of their schedule are K-State and then TCU. That's really where we're at. K-State is at home. TCU is on the road. And again, the defense isn't that good. It's 8 out of 14. Offense is good, decent, but that's where we're at as far as those two teams are concerned. So at the end of the day, when you really break it down and you really start to look at it, Texas is good enough. I'm not saying they will, but Texas is good enough, especially with what's in front of them, in order to be able to run the table. That's why Sark said, he was asked about this yesterday, and asked about the Big 12 and being able to win it. And one of the things he said is, everything we wanted out of our season is right in front of us now. He goes, we got to go take care of our business because those goals still remain because they're reality. We go now more than ever, because there's no divisions in the Big 12. The two best teams go play for a championship, and we control that. And then goes, naturally, no one likes to lose a game like that. But we got to handle our business, and we're more than capable of doing that. So I know it goes back to my joke. All the goals are still in front of you. Not worried about BYU. I mean, I don't know if it's a statement or not, but I just gave you Scott in Texas. BYU, 14th ranked offense in the conference, 7th ranked defense. I mean, you can have a concern about it, but I can tell you this much: I can guarantee you, and I make a hell of a bet that Steve Sarkeesian will have his team ready to play at BYU at home. Like, he's not going to want to lose to that school, his old school. Like, that's not going to happen. Okay. So what's going on, Jay Ward? Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you're around. So wait, where is Cole? What's going on? He's not around. Hold on one second. Let me hit him up real quick. Why? Why does it say try premium for 4 days? It's such a weird system right now. Oh, why is it say? It says Cole sitting backstage. Is he backstage, Aaron? No. Are you and Cole related? Or like, not related. Like on DMs? Send me one. Let's figure this thing out. Because he says it's sitting backstage. I don't know where he's sitting backstage at. Because he's not here. And I know I sent him the right link. Did you resend me the link, Aaron? Resend it to me, and then I'll send it to Cole. Let's do this. Let's do a break, Aaron. Let's get it sorted out. I may have sent him the wrong link. I may have told him to download Slack. Let's get it sorted out. Give me 2 minutes, and then I'll bring in Cole. We'll figure this out.
Corey Redding, the linebacker from Galena Park, North Shore High School, USA Today rated him as the best high school defensive player in the nation. That's incredible. Today he verbally committed to play his college ball for Max Brown and the Horns. He's the kind of defensive difference maker that Texas hadn't been able to get in years past, so it appears things are changing.
This Orange Bloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the most important recruiting wins in the history of the Texas program. Former 5-star defensive end Corey Redding out of Galena Park, North Shore. To completely understand the significance of Redding's commitment, you have to understand the context surrounding the recruitment. Redding's recruitment occurred just 2 years after another 5-star defensive end, David Warren, bypassed the Longhorns in favor of Florida State. New Texas head coach Mack Brown was trying to put the finishing touches on a #1 ranked recruiting class, but he had to overcome the stigma that great defensive players didn't go to Texas and that the Longhorns couldn't go into the Houston area and land a truly elite player that didn't play his football in the suburbs. It wasn't going to be easy for the Longhorns, as Redding's top 3 included Colorado and Arizona, with the Wildcats having a big edge with Corey's brother Chris already in the Arizona program, which had his mom wanting both players to play their college careers together. Colorado was actually viewed as a potential party spoiler, but while Redding was on his official visit to Boulder, CU head coach Rick Neuheisel took the Washington job. And that basically eliminated the Buffs. That left Arizona and Texas to duke it out. And when push came to shove, Redding couldn't leave the Lone Star State. Moments before he announced his decision, Redding informed his mom that he was selecting the Longhorns. He told her, quote, "I'm a Texas boy. I want to go to college in Texas, marry a Texas woman, and have Texas babies," while she broke down in tears at the news. Moments later, he told the world the news.
Corey Redding, in 1998-99 season, will be attending the University of Texas.
Redding's commitment sent shockwaves throughout the recruiting landscape as Mac Brown's dominance in recruiting in Texas began that day and rarely slowed down for the next decade and a half. The Longhorns finished with the #1 overall recruiting class in 1999, with the USA Today's Defensive Player of the Year representing the cherry on top of a very tasty sundae.
Spent time with him and myself, and I was like, I want you to put it on my mind the next morning when I wake up. And when I woke up, my hands was holding up that hook sign.
All right. I think I've got this thing sorted out. I don't know what link I sent Cole, but he is here. Let's go to the Speakeasy Lounge and bring in Cole Patterson. Cole, I don't know what I sent you. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, there are times that I send people the wrong link, so I don't know what it is, but Cole, I wanted to
It wasn't at my end.
Now, okay, well, I wanted to get you on because I saw a lot of your activity over the weekend is in a lot of stuff that you have been doing. I want to, obviously, I'm assuming you watched the Texas OU game, just out of curiosity as a sports fan. I want to start from Texas standpoint, and from what you know, Cole. What is a game like that from Texas' standpoint? How does that impact recruiting for Texas? Is it something that recruits look at? Because I know it can get spun either way, right? It's this, hey, this is this. If you win, this is you come and be a part of it. If you lose, you can say this is why we need you. But I'm kind of curious as to what you saw. Tell me how that either helps or hurts Texas from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think one game, a one-game sample size is going to swing things too much one way or the other. I did talk to some recruits after the game. It was a great game, and it seemed like a lot of these prospects that were in attendance took more away from, like, the environment and the atmosphere, of the state fair around the stadium, the atmosphere, the environment from the fans, and the game going down to the wire between two rivals. I think that was a big takeaway for a lot of these kids. Obviously there's some there that might be leaning Oklahoma. They were happy, to see Oklahoma win, see that Oklahoma can get over that hump with Brent Venables in his second season. But there's other recruits I talked to that, one was surprised that Texas lost. They expected Texas to win. They thought Texas would win if they played again, kind of thing. There's another recruit that I talked to that said if Texas just did this one thing, maybe get more pressure on the quarterback, they probably win pretty easily. So there's some different perspectives that I talked to with these recruits. But the big overall takeaway from a lot of the players that were in attendance watching this game was, hey, man, the environment was awesome. It was, the Rivals 100 offensive lineman Lamont Rogers said it was unlike any other game he's ever been to. And, he's a guy that's coveted by, several programs across the country. So obviously, a win would have helped, more than likely, obviously winning helps in recruiting. But I don't think a loss is too demoralizing, especially if Texas is able to, put this behind them and still have the kind of season that they can.
On the flip side, what does it do for a program like OU? Because Venables is he's been recruiting very well, Cole. You've documented that. Yeah. Does that kind of for him make it easier to tell, for his pitch to say, hey, look, this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been working on. And does this kind of help push him maybe over the edge with some guys?
For sure. There's no doubt. In my opinion, I think the win over Alabama did a lot for Sarkeesian, kind of validating him, kind of showing, hey, this team can be special. I think the same thing could be said about, this win over Texas for Oklahoma. Obviously they had that rough first season in the Venables era. They're off to a good start this year, but you weren't really sure who they've beaten, who they've played. Could they actually, go in and beat Texas, who already has a win over Alabama, has some momentum on its side? So for, Oklahoma to go out and win that game, I don't think Texas played its cleanest game, but Oklahoma made some mistakes as well. They dropped a pass to a walk-in touchdown for halftime, some other mistakes, but they were able to win that game. And I think that does a lot to validate, Venables, see recruits, all right, Oklahoma is headed into the right direction. And so, yeah, I think a win over that does more for the Oklahoma program and Venables than necessarily does to hurt, Sarkeesian and what Texas is building.
Yeah. Also, Cole Patterson from Rivals.com. Cole, it's also interesting too when you look at OU and of course to Texas to a certain degree. I'm kind of curious where your head is at because winning recruiting and the high school recruiting is a thing, but winning in the transfer portal, as we're seeing, is something that can really help programs fill in some holes and really help them get to the next level. We saw that OU had a bunch of transfer guys in there. Texas, obviously, not as many, but they had some guys who have had some impacts. I'm kind of curious to you when it comes to high school recruiting and transfer portal stuff. Like, where do you stand on? I don't know if it's the importance is the word, but the importance of there's got to be a balance, but the portal helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I still think you need to build these programs through the high school ranks, through the, traditional recruiting. I think that's where a bulk of these classes are still going to come from. But even today, Adam Gorney from Rivals had a, column, and part of the column was that, Deion Sanders in Colorado, they have the number 65 ranked recruiting class, and less high school commits than Cal, for instance. So it just depends on the philosophies of different coaches. Obviously, Deion was able to do a great job of, bringing in instant talent like Travis Hunter, like Shadir Sanders, all these guys. Lane Kiffin is another coach who uses the portal to his advantage. He brought in 2 more quarterbacks from the portal in addition to Jackson Dart. They're already starters, so he's not afraid to use the portal either. I think there's definitely a place for a portal. I mean, especially in today's age, you get the transfer rules. You can play immediately. You don't have to sit out, so you might as well take advantage. Texas was able to take advantage with, just A.D. Mitchell, a great player on Georgia, just looking to come home, to Texas. They were able to use that to their advantage, and now he's playing a huge role. But for me personally, I think you still need to build, you build your roster through the high school ranks. Get to do that traditional, recruiting, and then fill some holes on the roster. Maybe get a high end guy out of the portal to round things out.
Cole, you had over, I guess, the other day that Texas offered. How do you say it? Is it Racine Gilroy? How do I say his name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yeah.
All right.
Running back out of Lido.
As close as we're going to know for right now. What can you tell me about this athlete? And what do I need to know about him at this moment?
Yeah, he's a class of 2026 guy, so no rush to make a decision. But he moved into Alito for his sophomore season. Obviously, Alito is one of the big powerhouses in the state of Texas, and he's already off to a significant role with that team. He had a touchdown in the game I attended. I believe that was 2 weeks ago. He's a guy that can play all over the offense, and I've seen his recruitment take off already. Like I said, he's only a 2026 recruit, so there's a lot of time in his process. But Georgia just recently offered. Texas jumped into the mix. So he's got a lot of top dogs on his offer sheet. He's an explosive athlete that I think Texas fans, need to, familiarize themselves with early on.
As far as the 2024 class, anything new as relates to a Kobe Black? Have you heard anything with him? I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, for the most part, when I look at the list, I mean, it seems like it's pretty full at this moment. So, what's the latest with Kobe that you can tell us?
Yeah, Kobe's a guy that actually went down and saw not too long ago this season, and he's a guy that has been linked to Texas for a while now. I think a lot of people, including myself, think Texas is in the driver's seat. I have a future cast prediction in for Texas, and nothing I've been told, nothing I've heard, nothing I've seen has really made me sway that or lose confidence on that. I will say, there was a lot of thought, a lot of thinking that he may go down to A&M last weekend to see them play Alabama. I believe he was expected to be on campus. Going to the Texas OU game, seeing that game, even though Texas lost, I still think that, it's pretty noteworthy that he was willing to go see that, 11 a.m. kickoff, see Texas play. Granted, he's in, out of Waco, so it's not the furthest drive in the world, but still he was able to go see that game, see Texas. And, the Longhorns have made him a big priority. Terry Joseph is a guy that's really connected with him. Sarkeesian is heavily involved in his recruitment. I think he's a guy that they know that they can't really afford to lose on. Terry Bussey committed to A&M. A guy like Selman Bridges going out to Arkansas, you can't really afford to lose Kobe Black. He's a guy that they've zeroed in on and have been in the driver's seat for too long to miss out on.
Cole, we got some questions that are pile in for you, so why don't we go ahead and let them go? Cole, this is from Cotton. He wants to know what's up with our latest offer to the Florida commit, Xavier. How do you say his last name?
Phil saying.
Phil say. Go ahead. What do you got on
Yeah,
that?
Xavier's the guy that I've gotten to know really well. Over the years, I live in the Allen McKinney area, the Metroplex. He plays at McKinney High School, obviously. So he's a guy I've gotten to cover for a while now. Really good kid. Committed to Florida back in April. He's from Florida. Moved to Texas. But he still has family in Florida, and that was part of a reason why he wanted to play for the Gators, go back home, play in the state that he grew up in. He's happy with his commitment. He likes Florida a lot, obviously, but there's definitely some questions, around Billy Napier, what they're doing this year. They're kind of struggling on the field, and like I said, I don't think losses matter to recruits as much as fans. Especially just a few. I think the recruits see that as opportunity to come in and play, but it's still worth keeping an eye on. He was at the Texas OU game as a Texas recruit. He was just offered by Texas. Usually when committed guys, especially seniors, are offered, kind of lets you know that they're not completely shut down. I still think Florida is in a good position to hold on to him, but I'm keeping an eye on Texas. He's the guy that I should have a little bit more information on if you want to bring me on next week. I plan on talking to him this week and kind of seeing where his head's at. But for right now, I think Florida, he's happy with his Florida commitment, but Texas is definitely, chipping away in that recruitment. How much they have to make up, I think, it remains to be seen. But they're at least, finally shooting their shot, seeing if they can keep a guy like that in state. He's a guy that can play all over the secondary, borderline 5-star and rivals. So a player that they're definitely trying to see if they can get in the mix for.
Outside of Kobe Black, Cole, are there other guys that's on Texas radar? Other guys that we need to keep an eye on, because we're in October. So I mean, we're going to start getting to the finish line, at least the first portion of it, pretty soon. So are there other guys outside of Kobe Black that we need to keep our eyes on?
The big one is 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo. He's a guy that another player that. Back in the summer, Texas really made a big move for. There's some thought that he might even be committed to the Longhorns, before October. That didn't really come to fruition, obviously. But Texas still in the mix there. He ended up – Missouri is the other school in that recruitment that's really made a big push, emphasis on recruiting him. He's a St. Louis kid. They're doing all they can to keep him home. And he ended up visiting Missouri when they took on LSU instead of going down to the Red River rivalry. So it's really a 2-team race there. People who I've talked to that have covered Ryan even longer than I have believe Texas is still going to be the pick at the end of the day. But Missouri is making it tough. They're making him think a lot. But he's the one guy that they missed out on Micah Hudson, obviously. So if they can go in and kind of replace that with Ryan Wingo, I think Texas fans would be really happy.
What about, and then, it's a good question, obviously, by, Horns Up 512. What about flips? Are there any guys that you would look at that are committed but still taking visits to Texas that you look at and your expertise says, that's I'll put that person on flip watch just in case I'm not 100% sold? You got anybody on your radar like that, Cole?
We just touched on him. Phil Same's the one guy that I think is the one player that you really need to keep an eye on. He, like I said, he's committed to Florida. He's happy with that commitment, but the fact that he was able to, go to the Red River rivalry game, get that Texas offer shortly after, they're turning up the heat on him. I know Texas, I talked to him back in the spring that he told me Texas never really made a push for him before he committed to Florida. Same with A&M. He told me A&M waited a little bit too long so they could push on him as well. So he didn't really feel that. He didn't feel like a priority to the in-state schools in Texas. So now Texas is kind of trying to reverse that, trying to make up for that. They're turning up the heat. They're offering him. They're seeing if they can get in that mix for them. So he's a, like I said, borderline 5-star recruit. Like I said, I think Florida is still, obviously he's committed there. So, they're the favorite to hold on to him. But if you're looking for a guy, especially a big name guy, they're going to flip. It's definitely, I would say, Xavier Philsane.
I appreciate it, Cole. By the way, just out of curiosity, you watched the game. What did you think of the game itself? Like, what did you think of that Texas OU game? I'm curious.
Yeah, I enjoy every time the two teams play. I haven't been able to go to the game in person yet. Hopefully that changes maybe next year,
Mm-hmm.
soon. So that's definitely an environment that I've always wanted to be in. But just the game itself, it was back and forth, really exciting. I thought Texas was going to pull away there at the end. Then I don't want to rehash anything, but I'm not a fan of prevent defense down the stretch. I kind of get why they wanted to keep the offense in front of them. But yeah, it was a good game, and I think we're definitely in line to see a rematch at AT&T Stadium.
Last one question I'm going to add and let you go on this one, Cole, which is this is not a Texas one. This is not an Oklahoma one. I just want to know, give me a guy that you have scouted in this state that may not be highly ranked for whatever reasons, whether it's, rivals or anything like that, but you just are absolutely love, like a guy that you're sold on and you say, well, maybe that person will get the ranking at some point. Maybe he's a 3-star and he'll move up to a 4-star. But is there an under the radar person that you are just in love with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how highly he's going to be ranked or anything like that, but a guy that always produces when I go see them play is getting guy or wide receiver Josiah Martin. He was Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma's favorite target last year. Produces in big games. Seems to be unguardable. He's not the most polished receiver. He's not the most athletic, the biggest kind of receiver. But was able. He stacked up a pretty good offer sheet back in the spring. Committed to Boston College. Recently backed off of that, and I expect teams, as they go through their senior evals, to circle back on a guy like that. He just gets open, man. He just gets open with ease. A guy that's trained with DeJounte Cooks of the world, Kyle Parkers of the world. So he's a guy that I don't know if he's ever going to be a high end recruit, but a guy that I think we'll look back on in a few years like, God, why weren't more teams on him? Why was he a little bit undervalued?
Okay. All right. Cole Patterson, I appreciate you. I'm glad the link worked. Thank you so much. And tell everybody how they can find your good work and support you and all the cool stuff that you do, Cole. Go ahead and let them know. They should know by now, but just in case there's someone who doesn't know, let's go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow me on Twitter at Rivals Cole, just Rivals and then COLE. Simple as that. And, I do most of my work at rivals.com. I'll drop some stuff on Orange Bloods as well. If any Texas tidbits come around, I do a lot of work with Jason Sukamel. So, yeah, just follow me on Twitter and read my work at Rivals and Orange Bloods. And looking forward to being back on Anwar.
Hey, Cole, just so you know, at the very end of your stuff, the adult dating chats start coming. just so you know, that's how popular you are. Now the bots are here to bring
Must be a sign.
Yeah, so it's like, I need to click the link. Cole Patterson, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Anwar.
Okay, that is cool. Guys, do not click that link. Whatever you do not click that link. Nothing good's gonna come of it. So yeah, usually when I guess we're almost 2 hours in, that thing happens. Do not click it out of curiosity. Nothing good will come of it. I guarantee it. Not because I know from experience, just because of it's probably true. And by the way, nonetheless, by the way, Aaron, why don't we go to specs for people? I got something else that you can click. I got something else that'll be great for you. And it's going to be specs as you guys are kind of enjoying your week, enjoying your soon to be weekend, whatever it is. Specs has got you covered. Where you're looking for something for date night, looking for hanging out night, some nice little spirits, beer, whatever it is. Specs has got you covered. Check out this memo from Specs.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Shook ones, I think there may be hot singles by you, but I don't know if they're on that link. I'm just going to tell you, there probably are. There probably are some hot singles by you. I'm sure if you live by an apartment complex of some sorts, I'm guaranteeing you there's some young hot women who are living in that apartment complex, but they're not on that link. Do not click it. You're warning. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do a quick little break, and then we come back. I'm going to finish up my thoughts as far as why you have no reasons to panic or be concerned about your Longhorns. I'm going to have some social media standouts. We'll finish up buy or sell. It's a fun-filled Tuesday, so do not go anywhere. I got some more thoughts coming up soon.
This Orange Bloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the best recruits from the Charlie Strong era, wide receiver Devin Duvernay. Duvernay was one of the top prospects that the Longhorns signed in the 2016 recruiting class, but his pathway to the Longhorns was as unconventional as anyone in that class or almost any other. The number 52 overall player in the country, number 5 player in the state of Texas, and number 8 wide receiver in the country per Rivals, the high 4-star super blue chip had one doozy of a recruitment. Before he attended a Texas Junior Day in February of 2015, he told Orange Bloods' Jason Sukumel that the Longhorns were front and center in his recruitment. Quote, "They're in it. I like Texas. Grew up liking Texas," Duvernay said. "When I've been there, I like them. With the new staff, I like what they're doing. I think the program will be back pretty soon." Yet Baylor, the first school to actually offer Duvernay a scholarship, was always a school that had his attention. It also had his brother Donovan's attention as well, as he made the jump to commit to Baylor in September of 2015. 2 months later, Devin joined him, choosing the Bears over Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. That's right, no Texas among his initial group of finalists. That was pretty much that for Duvernay, as he signed in February of 2016 with the Bears. But Duvernay decided to explore other options after a sexual assault scandal surrounding the Baylor program and the subsequent firing of head coach Art Briles. It was later discovered that Duvernay's national letter of intent was never properly submitted by Baylor, making him immediately open to other programs. After not having the Longhorns among his original finalists, Duvernay signed with the Longhorns in June of 2016. And once Baylor released his brother, he also joined the Longhorns 2016 recruiting class. When it was all said and done, Baylor's loss turned out to be one hell of a gain for the Texas football program, who added one of the best receivers in school history.
Thank you to Cole Patterson. Maybe that was the link that I sent him, and he was unable to sign on earlier. Maybe that's what that was. I apologize, Cole. I mean send you personal links. My bad. But I appreciate Cole coming on, giving us some recruiting stuff as he filled in kind of for Jason this week, and we'll have him on obviously as this year rolls along. And recruiting will become a thing that we start talking about very, very soon. So we'll start doing some recruiting shows, and especially a lot in the month of December. So you'll be seeing Cole back here a lot with Adam Gorney and Jason Sukumel. So get ready for that. Recruiting right around the corner as your Longhorns are. And once they get the Kobe Black thing, I'm assuming that probably puts them in the top 10. They're look at number 14 right now, according to the Rivals ranking. So we will see how that whole thing plays out. All right. So when I went back to the subject of, I'm ignoring Rodolfo. When I went back to the subject of why there's no reason to panic, why you guys should be feeling okay about your Texas Longhorns. I started with talking about the teams that are left. Only 2 teams currently with winning records. I also covered the one thing I covered was only one team that has an offense that's currently ranked in the top 5 within the Big 12, and only 2 teams have a defense that's ranked within the top 5 within the Big 12. So the long story short of saying Texas, from a scheduling standpoint, the tough part of their schedule, the heavy lifting portion is done. Alabama is done. Kansas is done. Oklahoma is done. Now Texas goes into the part of their schedule where they should be okay. Like that's where we understand where it's at. I said that this team is good enough to finish in 11-1, and I still believe, that. I still believe that's on the table. And again, one of the things I wanted to emphasize and talk to you guys and understand is that going into the season, about before Cole came on, I said most of us had Texas sitting at 10-2. I think most of us had them at a 10-2 team. Some of you guys may have had 11-1, but right now, if you're just looking at it objectively, Texas is on pace to achieve that number that we thought was going to happen. Like that we said 10-2. That's you're at right now. You got one loss. Even if they suffer another one, they're still in that range that we have predicted that they would be before the season. So we thought they were going to suffer at least one conference loss. That one conference loss has happened. We thought they would have a conference loss. Some of you didn't think the conference loss was going to happen, but for you 11-0 folks, you 12-0 folks, you know that you guys went really ham on the 12-0 thing. But when I looked at it, I told about this yesterday. When I looked at the numbers, you know, we gotta look at it objectively, and again, take a step back for a second. Then we looked at when Texas, when it's all said and done, had 527 yards of offense against Oklahoma. These are not consolation prizes. These are just facts. Okay, you know, the L happened. So, dude, this is none of this. Oh, I'm trying to make you feel better about a loss. Nope. The L happened. You gotta take the L. But what I'm saying is within the L, this is why you don't let two losses beat you twice. This is why you don't hit the panic button. This is why you don't all of a sudden freak out and tell yourself, man, what happens now? Where do we go? What all these kind of things, right? There's no need for any of that. So 527 yards of offense. So you know your offense is still pretty good when it's all said and done. If you get that kind of production, then you'll feel good about Texas' chances winning every single game for the rest of the season. Quinn Ewers, when it's all said and done, the 2 interceptions happened, but he also completes 31 of 37 passes for 364 and a touchdown. And so right now, if we take a step back, the number 2 leading passer in the Big 12 right now is Quinn Ewers. 1,700 yards, 1,704, 11 TDs, 3 interceptions on 163.38 passer rating. Now he's number 2 to Dylan Gabriel, but we're not doing a comparison between the two. I'm just telling you where he's at this moment. Dylan Gabriel has 1,878, by the way, 16 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But right now, you can rest easy knowing that you have a quarterback who, from a statistical standpoint, is one of the best quarterbacks in the conference, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And so, again, if Quinn continues to play the way that Quinn's been playing, you don't have these interceptions, clearly, but we're not these interceptions coming in bunches is not something that we really see from Quinn a lot. And again, we can be fair and objective and say, that's not really all on him as far as those interceptions are concerned. But if he plays consistently, then Texas, when we look at the schedule, what Texas has left, Texas has a good chance to run the table. That just is what it is. If Quinn brings that A game, B game, hell. That performance that Quinn that from Saturday is enough to beat the majority of the teams on the schedule, and realistically, it's enough maybe to keep a couple of teams in it. But that might be it. It's still enough to blow out the majority of the teams that are left. So there's that. There's a Jonathan Brooks conversation to have. Guys brought him up a little bit earlier, but we know Jonathan Brooks, he rushes 129 times. Good Lord. I'm sure Brooks would love that. 129 yards with 1 touchdown. And by the way, he is the 3rd leading rusher in the country with 726 and 6 TDs. Right now, Jonathan Brooks, if he keeps it up and he does it on his next half, if he matches that, he rushes for 1,452 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's not bad. You'll take that. You'll take that 7 days a week and twice on Sundays, right? G, you said if Sark learns from mistakes, yes, 11-1 for sure is under the table. It's definitely on the table as well. You've got some. You had a Jordan Whittington sighting, so we know that thing happened. 10 receptions for $115, and then you also have Sark saying he wants to get Jonte Cook more involved as well. So if you could get more from Jordan, and then Jonte Cook gives you a little bit more in the receiving realm, then all of a sudden, once again, you start cooking with grease a little bit. And then here's some numbers that I think are important that you guys need to know. as we start having a conversation about Texas and where they are. All right. When it's all said and done, everything you looked at and you saw from this defense on Saturday and the frustration that you had from this defense on Saturday, right? And it's fair. It's documented. We won't rehash it. You lived it. You've been there. No need for to go through all of it, right? So let's look at it today. Do you know which team in the Big 12 has the number one ranked defense in this conference? Still Texas. When it's all said and done, it's still Texas at 323 yards per game, followed by Cincinnati, West Virginia, Iowa State, and K-State. Oklahoma's defense, just so you out of curiosity, if you're curious, they're ranked 6th. So when you ask me the question, do you really think that Oklahoma may lose another game when you've got the 6th ranked defense in the conference? Yes, that's on the table, 100%. Okay? Now, when we start thinking about opponent red zone conversions, again, we're looking at it, and you looked at it, he's like, man, they were on it 6-6 on Saturday. Again, we won't rehash it and won't relive it. When it's all said and done, let me tell you, Texas is still ranked 2nd in opponent red zone conversions. Even after what you saw, Texas is ranked 2nd. 1st in defense overall, 2nd in opponent red down conversions. 2nd. So now, great, to be fair, OU's first. It's not a Texas OU conversation. It's a state of the Longhorns conversation. What about opponent third down conversions? This is where I'm saying, like, wait. Take a step back for a second. Before you start panicking and getting upset and worrying about the future and who should be this and PK should do this and all that kind of stuff, how about opponent third down conversions? Texas is ranked 2nd under West Virginia. Third down conversions, 28.4%. That's how much they're converting on third down against the Texas defense. West Virginia is at number 1 at 27.78. That close to being number 1. So as much as you saw from the defense, this is what I was saying yesterday and I'll repeat today, is that I'm not going to worry until I see that performance again. If I see that performance again, then I'm going to say to myself, we've got a problem. Something wrong in here. But until I see that, I got to say to myself, okay, that was a one-off. Let me see what they do for the rest of the year. And if they return to form, then that thing happened, and you sell yourself that thing happened, and you let it go. It just kind of is what it is. Right now, from a total offensive standpoint, when we look at the total offense in the Big 12, Texas is currently ranked 4th, averaging 486 yards per game. Total offense, 1st in defense. And I already gave you the numbers as relates to where everyone else stands on offense and or defense. So overall, when it's all said and done, overall, when we look back at it, overall, when we see where Texas is today, 6 games in, and if we don't overreact over the one game, but we factor in the totality of what they have done throughout the season, Texas has played consistently well on offense and defense. We're taking the averages as all concerned, but consistently well on offense, consistently well on defense, and as poor as the defense played, they did so well previously where it doesn't even give them a huge statistical hit. That's where you're at with that Texas team. That's where you're at with the Longhorns. That's where you're at with everybody, which is what I went back to. Don't panic. Don't panic. Yeah, that happened. It sucked. Oh, I know. I got it. I feel you. Felt your pain. I had to ride that. What is that called? The Dart? Is that the Dart in Dallas? The train? I think it's called Dart. And I had to ride the train back from the fairgrounds to the downtown to get there. And I heard it. I saw you guys on that train. They're screaming Boomer Sooner. I know you when they come out and you're on the fairgrounds, you're hearing them screaming, and I know it hurts. I heard you. I see your pain. I saw your faces. I saw your faces going in. I saw your faces going out. But at the end of the day, you look at the schedule, look at where the team is at. You look at the totality of what they've accomplished. If you don't panic over one game and say to yourself, overall, this team is good, they have a chance to win out, and then, of course, have an opportunity to maybe get back into that cold conversation if all goes well, then at the end of the day, you said it was a loss that you didn't love, but maybe almost like that 2018 team from Oklahoma that lost in this game and then still was able to run the table and get into the conference college football playoff conversation. This could be that same thing potentially. Now they got to do their part. They've got to do their part. In the playoffs, I told you, playoffs, I'm not talking about playoffs. I'm not talking about chance about playoffs. By the way, every team has a chance to win out. Shadow, let's not be crazy. You think every team's got a chance to win out? You think Texas Tech has a chance? I mean, there's a statistical chance that you have, but let's talk about realistic, based off the evidence that I gave. Like not based off of that, based off the statistical evidence that I gave, where each team ranks statistically that's remaining on the schedule. I don't think every team has a chance to win out. I can tell you that much. But Texas has a chance to. Oklahoma has a chance to. I'm not convinced they will. Not convinced they will. I think they got one. I think they got a loss in them. I definitely do. But I think they both end up being. I think when it's all said and done, first weekend in December, we'll all be in Arlington, running this thing back. It's gonna be fun. So for right now, don't panic, don't overreact. You'll be fine. All right, Aaron, just do a quick break. Come back. Do we still got some more buy or sell, Aaron? Do we still have some more that we didn't get to? Like a few? All right, well, you guys get some more buy or sell in there if you want to. If not, when we come back, got some social media standouts that I want to attack. So we'll go ahead and go into some fun portion of this show. So let's go do a quick break, and then when we come back, let's do some fun social media standouts. Be right back.
One of our very first Orange Bloods recruiting flashbacks will focus on a player that went on to become one of the best running backs in the history of the sport. Jamal Charles was a high 4-star prospect by Rivals.com when he signed with the Longhorns in 2005, finishing number 57 overall in the Rivals 100 and number 4 overall in the state of Texas. Personally, I had Jamal Charles as a 5-star prospect on my Lone Star Recruiting Top 100 list, but I have to admit that I wasn't head over heels in love with him the first time I watched his junior film as a prospect. It's hard for me to admit this out loud, but I actually had questions about his speed and whether he was really as fast as his track exploits suggested he was. Ultimately, he was scoring touchdowns as a junior at Memorial by such wide margins that he really never had to open up his speed on the field as much as he just seemed to coast. It didn't take me long to figure out that questioning his speed was one of the dumbest things I've ever done while working in this industry, and that's probably saying something. The most dramatic part of his recruitment might have come on the day he decided to commit to the Longhorns, because when he picked up the phone to call running backs coach Mike Haywood, no one was there to take the call. Charles told Jason Sukamel of OrangeBloods.com that he would call Mac Brown back the next day and make it official. And that's exactly what he did. The hit rate for the class was exceptional, as Charles was joined by the likes of Henry Melton, Roy Miller, Jermichael Finley, Roderick Muckleroy, Quan Cosby, Chris Hall, Charlie Tanner, and of course, Colt McCoy. When it's all said and done, and you look back at the last quarter century of Rivals.com ranking prospects, Jamal Charles is one of the greatest Longhorn prospects that ever lived.
All right, welcome back. And Gio, you're welcome. You know, it's and the positivity, by the way, it's not something that I'm doing because it's something like, oh, there's a lot of Texas Longhorn fans, so like let's do pom poms and things to that fact. Like none of that. It's more of living again in the reality, Geo, of hey, let's take a step back for a second, and again, let's not freak out over a 4-point loss and act like there's death, doom, and destruction. Now, again, Gio, if this happens in another couple of weeks after Houston, hell, if it happens at Houston, like, well, hell, this is going to all go crazy at that point. But if this happens in another couple of weeks, and we see a repeat, excuse me, of that, sure. Then at that point, I'm like, wait a second. You know, once it's an accident, twice it's a habit. You know, that's one thing I always do with my kids, you know, and in life and relationships. Something happens one time, you can excuse that. All right, you know, once it happened once, okay, we can talk about it. Let's figure it out. We can work this thing out. Once it's an accident, twice it's a habit, though. Once it happens once it happened 2 times, I'm like, wait a second now. We had a conversation. I always say you're only accountable for the things you know. I tell my kids that all the time. You're only accountable for the things you know. When you don't know it, I'm gonna hold you accountable for it. But now that you know the expectation, now I'll hold you accountable. One time it happened, you happened, okay, cool, not a problem. But let BYU or K-State convert 6-6. Let them move the field down, move the ball down there. Let there be some clock mismanagement there. Let there be a repeat of some of the mistakes that we saw in the OU game. I'm willing to give them a measure of grace based off of what we saw in the previous 5 games. Because I'm not going to let the one negative game overshadow what I saw in the previous 5. What I saw in the previous 5 is pretty damn good. I'm not going to all of a sudden act like Alabama didn't exist. So I'm going to tell myself, all right, that happened. All right, I'll give you that. No problem. We're good. We're good. So do it again. Do it again. Problem. You know how it is? Someone steps on your shoe one time. My bad. Step on your shoe again. Really? That's where we're at. I'm not at the really stage. I'm just like, all right. You say it's correctable. Sark says it's correctable. Says they can handle it. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and do it. We'll all be here. We'll all be watching. Waiting to go to Houston. I can't wait to go to Houston. I enjoy Houston. Always something crazy happens in Houston, though. That's a crazy ass city there. I don't know if you guys live there, but man, Houston is a crazy city. There's some beauty in Houston. There's some really nice parts. Rodolfo, I can tell you this much: for your dating scene, Houston is where it's at. My goodness, I mean, they got. I mean, they're everywhere. Houston. I'm Beyonce from Houston, but boy, that's a crazy city. Like you don't know what's going to happen at any stoplight or anything like that, but it's a fun city to be a part of. But it is crazy at times. All right, let's do this. Do some crazy stuff. Let us do some social media standouts. Let's talk about some things that we've seen on the web. You can stand out for good reasons. You can stand out for bad reasons. It's all up to you. We shall determine it here. Brett McMurphy, person I know. Of mine, known him for many years when we worked at the Tampa Tribune with a newspaper that no longer exists. But nonetheless, and good morning to you, South End Zone Queen. I did see you got in here late. And boy, who are you fighting with in the chat, in the Specs chat? I'm going to ignore that. Damn, South End Zone Queen. She coming in hard on somebody getting their butt whooped in the chat. Brett McMurphy puts his bowl projections out there. And how many of you guys want to go to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl to face for Texas versus Ohio State? I'm assuming Chick-fil-A Peach. That's got to be Atlanta. I'm pretty sure that Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl that has all the makings of Atlanta. Peaches, Chick-fil-A. Nothing says that by Atlanta like Chick-fil-A and peaches and rude people in their airport. So yeah, and then he's got some other people that are in there. Here's what's interesting. He's got Washington versus Wyoming in the Fiesta Bowl. Wyoming, y'all, is going to make a bowl game. Say what you want to say about that team and say what you want to say about that victory. You're going to look back on that one and say to yourself, man, Texas beat a pretty good team that actually went bowl, that was bowl eligible. And really, let me see where Rice is at football wise right now. Is Rice a possibility of bowl eligibility? Let me see where Rice is at. Let me click them real quick. Rice is sitting at 3-3. Lost one. So Rice has the potential of maybe potentially making a bowl game. So you're going to look back on your schedule and you're going to say to yourself, the majority of teams that Texas played would have been bowl eligible or made a bowl game. You're going to feel really good about that. And then you're going to look and say, man, and the worst thing that happened was a 4-point loss against your rival. I will tell you that's a successful season. And when it's all said and done. So, and again, I'm not purposely out here seeking positivity, but I'm just purposely seeking reality. So that'll be very interesting to see going forward what Wyoming does. Like you said, Rice is at 3-3. Let me look at the rest of Rice's schedule, see if I can project, if I can see a couple of more wins. They played Tulsa. I don't know about that. They played Tulane, SMU, UTSA, Charlotte, FAU. I mean, they might be able to get 3 out of this. I'll be honest with you. I wish I knew more about Rice to tell you if they could or not. You guys might be, for those of you who might know Rice a little bit better than me. How about this? They're hosting Tulane this upcoming week. No. Let me go back. They looks like they're on a bye this week. And then it looks like they have Tulsa at Tulsa next week. Then Tulane at home. Then SMU comes to Rice. Then they're at UTSA, which I don't think is as good as they were in previous years. At Charlotte, and then FAU. Do you see 3 more wins from that Rice team? I'm just curious. And again, I only know Rice. What I saw, I cannot compare Rice versus SMU versus Florida Atlantic versus Charlotte versus UTSA. I don't know. I don't know what any of those damn schools are doing. But nonetheless, yeah, you guys tell me what you guys think, and what that's a possibility. Go ahead. Let's give me another one, Aaron. Let's do another social media standout that's here. Let's see what we got. Chance Mock last night, of course, the OBO Outsiders. Because I've used the 48-hour rule. 48 hours, you got to sit there, you got to think about it. Don't say a lot of things. You just kind of meditate on it. Then after 48 hours, you're free to kind of say what you want to say. And then he said, still trying to figure out why we never adjusted and spied Gabriel. Chance asks a good question. He ponders a good question. At some point, you realize that Gabriel was using his legs as a threat. Now, you went into the game with Milroe, and you knew he was going to be a guy that ran the ball. So you got the spy ready for that one. But at the point you realize, okay, Dylan Gabriel's kind of cooking right now. Like Dylan Gabriel, he kind of cooking. We might need to do this crazy thing. I got a wild idea, guys. Let's do an in-game adjustment. What? An in-game adjustment? An in-game adjustment. This guy is killing us on the ground. He is absolutely killing us. Maybe throw a spy there. It's a good question. It's a good question that Chance has pondered. So 100%, I get what he's saying is not too bad. What are y'all doing? And what's going on in the chat? Why? Who's blocking who? What kind of fight? And why South End Zone Queen is coming in here choosing violence against someone? I don't know. Who don't like the DM? Oh, so you guys don't like this DM person? DM. Okay, I haven't been keeping up for DM us for soft warriors. Like, what the hell? Anyway, I don't like the name. But okay, y'all fight it out. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Just a piano player in the whorehouse right now. I'm just playing the piano downstairs. I don't know what's going on upstairs. I'm just playing downstairs. That's just me. That's just me. Okay, so this is for the OU fans that are out there. This is for the OU fans who are out there. Where's Bo? Where's Stoopsified? Where is all y'all Boomer Sooner peoples? All y'all out there. I apparently some OU players decided, we just beat Texas and we could drink to celebrate. We could smoke to celebrate. We could just go to sleep. I don't know. I could get the pictures that I had from the Red River and I could get that thing blown up. I could get someone to make a painting of it. I could get someone to make a video of it. They're like, nah, I don't want to do any of that. You know what I want to do? I want to get a leg tattoo. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want a leg tattoo, and I'm going to put it on my thigh, and then I'm going to get a horns down. Yeah, that's how I'm going to celebrate. That's funny because, everyone tried to say that Texas acted like they did something special when they beat Bama. But these guys decided they're going to get a horns down tattoo on their leg that everybody can see for the rest of their life without realizing and understanding fully when people do this. Every time you look at it from your perspective, from your eyes, Danny, Jaron, it's horns up. Every time you look at it, it's horns up. But no, it's horns down. Like, what? Why would you? I could not imagine going to get a tattoo of something. Well, one, that to you guys' point, no one can really. I mean, I got tattoos, but it's personal, right? But of your rival. Like, so that would be like me getting like an on 3 tattoo and putting it on my thigh. It just and then putting it upside down. But every time I look at it, I see on 3. I would never want to get it tattooed on me. Let me just start there. And then nonetheless, an upper thigh, right? Not even on your arm, right? Your upper thigh. So only people get to see it as you and the person who you're intimate with. And every time you look down at it, it's the horns up looking back at you. What? Who? Could you not have just? There was no other way to celebrate this. I feel like they're like, no, man, let's go get a tattoo. Let's get a horns down tattoo, man, on our thigh. All right. I feel like there had to be a better way to celebrate. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I got a better way to celebrate. But if you want to look at the Texas Longhorn logo for the rest of your life, so be it. But yeah, Zio just shows you the ignorance of Sooner fans, Anwar. Man, that's a Sooner player. That's a Sooner players that were doing that. That's scary. But they like it. Well, enjoy looking at the horns up all the time. Well, I don't know. All right, let's do another one. Let's do another social media standout. Let's do another one. There. Kieran probably feels the same way that you guys do, don't you? Because I don't think I've ever wanted a rematch more in my life, I think is what he meant to say. Is that how you guys feel? Are you guys at that point? Are you guys like Kieran? Does Kieran speak for the people that say, I mean, there was 86,000 people that saw this, right? 86,000 as of whenever I sent this, like 100%. You are looking at this thing saying to yourself, what is it, December the 2nd? Is that where it is? Is that where this is at? I think it's December the 2nd. Let me look. Because, December the 2nd. You're looking at this thing saying to yourself, December the 2nd can't come here soon enough. Because, boy, look at here. Yes, going to be a lot of slow singing, a lot of flower bringing. Is Kieran speaking for the people that says, not goodness, it won't mean anything to you unless you can get those Sooners again with their little sexy tattoos on their thighs. It's really cute. Really, really, really pretty tattoo that they had of the Longhorns. Like, they paid for this thing too, which is crazy. Boy. I'm not got my kids on my chest. I can imagine having something like. Anyway, all right, let's do another one, Aaron. Let's do another one, Aaron. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. All right, so I understand how hard it is to try to do these mock draft things. When I was in the NFL and I covered it, I didn't like doing mock drafts. I hated them, to be honest with you. There was a lot of guesswork, and I don't like trying to predict something that I don't have control over. It's one of the reasons why I don't really like being in management. I was in management for a little bit many years ago. I didn't love it just because I didn't like having to be responsible for people and things that I can't necessarily control. You can try to do it. So I understand that, mock drafts are hard and trying to come up with stuff is really difficult. And so I'd say that because I want to make sure I give people respect. Like I respect guys like the Mel Kipers of the world and the Todd McShays of the world. I may not always agree with them, but I understand like it's hard to just be 100% right. And the reason why I don't hold them to accountable is because, at the end of the day, I can't hold them more accountable than I do the teams that usually get it wrong. So I am there. But I want you guys to look at number 23 on this list, and I want you guys to look at number 30 on this list. And this is why this is my setup to respectfully say I see no world where Adonai Mitchell gets drafted before Xavier Worthy. I see no world, no football world where Adonai Mitchell goes to number 23 and Xavier Worthy is at 30. I don't see that world. You have to, that's a person, again, all due respect to Thor and what he's trying to do. I appreciate it. I know that's tough. It's a tough gig. There's no way. There's no way if you look at the film and you cut on the film, no way you would tell yourself, I want Adonai over Xavier. It just wouldn't happen. Jatavian is in there at 31. No Quinn Ewers in that first round either. So, yeah, this mock draft, cool. That's his first one. Probably first of 12. There'll probably be a billion revisions. Don't see this happening at all. But appreciate the effort. Appreciate what he's did. Let's do another one, Aaron. Let's do another one. SEC Power Rankings came out from our friend, SEC Mike Branton. They did a show the other day, and I just stumbled upon it, and I just looked, and I kept going because I just had other things to do in life. But him and his partner, they were wearing clown suits. He had a clown makeup, a clown paint with a clown wig. He clearly had been a clown about something. I'm just not quite sure what the clown thing was about. But anyway, it's in his SEC Power Rankings. If you want to feel good about your Longhorns and where they're at, and of course, the Sooner people who are in there as well, he's got Georgia number 1 in his Power Rankings, OU number 2, Texas number 3, Bama number 4, and A&M number 5. So at the end of the day, still has Texas. If this was could be in the conference, would still be the number 3 team right now, which is, by the way, not that bad. Not that bad. So that's, again, outside perspective, the outside perspective of people saying to themselves, you know what? Texas is not that bad. 4-point loss, not the worst thing in the world. Just putting that out there. How many more do we have, Aaron? One more again. All right, let's do it. Last one was the game time. Did you guys see the game time announcement? 3:00 kickoff on Fox. I hate that. Oh, I can't. I am so distraught with this kickoff time. First and foremost, you guys know I want 11 o'clock kickoffs. That's exactly what I want. I want an 11 o'clock freaking kickoff. And that's fine. I can't get one, but you give me a 3 o'clock. So essentially, I'm leaving my hotel somewhere around 12. I'm then coming back, getting back somewhere around 10. Because, we do the post-game show. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me with these afternoon kicks. I thought morning time was the best time for these kickoffs. 3 o'clock is just such a brutal, brutal time. The good part is hopefully I can start writing at halftime. hopefully this game is over and I can start riding and getting ahead, do this post-game show, and then get out. But man, no. Get to go to I went to the Galleria Mall, which is just a fascinating mall to me every time I've been there. Aaron, I went to the Galleria Mall a few years ago. Seconds after a smash and grab at a jewelry store there, just like seconds after it, like I saw the people running and I didn't know why they were running. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't look good. And I took the left and they had just smashed a jewelry store and grabbed all the stuff out. Like Houston is a fascinating place to me where I see I'm telling you, some of the craziest crimes that happen there. There's just something strange about it, but very good food, very good restaurants. 3:00 kickoff. Not loving that, but we'll go ahead and we'll survive. All right, Aaron, let's do a quick break. We'll come back. If there's any more buy or sells, we'll knock those out real quick. And then after that, we'll wrap up this bad boy. So if you want to get your buy sells in, get them in quick. We're going to wrap up early. Aaron's got stuff to do. I got some stuff to do. I'm traveling tomorrow to Mexico. So I got some things, some loose ends I need to tie up on my end. So let's do a quick break, finish up buy or sell, and then we'll put a ribbon and bow in this whole show.
This Orange Bloods recruiting flashback focuses on one of the biggest UT football stars of the last decade. Bijan Robinson was a 5-star prospect by rivals when he signed with the Longhorns, finishing as the nation's number 18 overall prospect, the second best prospect in the state of Arizona, and the number 1 running back in the country, according to Rivals.com. Upon retrospect, it's kind of amazing that former running backs coach Stan Drayton was able to land Robinson when you consider that Ohio State was perceived as a massive leader for much of his recruitment. In fact, on the day he committed, Rivals.com recruiting analyst Adam Gorney told Orange Bloods, quote, even after the Atlanta 5-star challenge, it almost felt like Ohio State was the foregone winner, Gorney said that day. But as it got closer, I think the realization that he would basically be going across the country to play football kind of set in. He really, really liked Texas and USC a lot, had connections to both schools, liked the staffs, and how they would use him, and wound up finding a school closer to home that he was very happy with. It wasn't until Robinson visited Texas on an unofficial visit for the spring game in April that Texas began to make it surge. By the time June rolled around, a couple of months later, the Longhorns had emerged as a team to beat in his recruitment. Robinson was a part of a 2020 recruiting class that finished 14th in the nation that year in the Rivals.com rankings, and what turned out to be the final full recruiting class for Tom Herman. A few years later, and there's not a ton of meat on the bone with respects to the elite prospects from that year outside of Robinson. Jake Majors and Jaron Thompson remain as a few of the higher ranked players in that class, but it's actually 2 of the lower ranked prospects in the class, Jahdae Barron and Jalen Ford, that have made the biggest impact as the class begins to wrap up its contribution to the Texas football program.
All right. I see you guys getting live in that Specs chat line, baby. I was reading through some of the comments during the break. Woo-wee, y'all are going at each other. That's funny. It's funny. Like, I'm wondering, like, are y'all listening to anything I'm saying, or y'all just fighting with each other? It's like, I'm trying to give some takes. I come prepared with information, try to give notes and stuff. You guys are fighting over some stuff. Like, it's funny to me. I'll be honest. I enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy it. And y'all distract me a lot of times. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I get distracted by the things that you guys say. I can get easily thrown off. I can get easily thrown off. I have to turn on my notifications on Slack when you guys come on, because I get thrown off by something there. You guys start saying stuff. You guys are fighting over the Texas OU thing. It's cool stuff to me. That's what sports is all about. This is what we do, and I absolutely enjoy it. All right, we're going to do a few more buy or sells, And then after that, if you don't get these things in, we'll head on out. I'll let you guys fight amongst yourselves. Get it. By the way, 49-0 is an impressive win. Like, I don't know why he said it's not, but yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's funny. I like it. I like to see it. Okay, text guy 2. Okay, at least he didn't ask me about that place that we're not mentioning anymore. We are more tortured by this loss due to the open week, the bye week. Oh, bye. The worst thing that can happen. I've been doing this for 10 years here. Also been covering sports for a long period of time. The worst thing that happened is have a loss before the bye, because now and OU has a bye too. So now all OU gets to do is just toy with you guys. It's not like OU can move on and say, all right, well, we're focusing on this opponent. And now that's what the conversation, everyone's attention shift. They are sitting here dwelling in the win, and they're happy as heck. And you're sitting here dwelling in a loss, and you mad as heck. Oh, it's a word. Yeah, that's what makes it bad. That's what makes it bad. That's why some people fall out. They'll always want to, I ain't gonna watch today, man. I don't even bother with this whole darn thing. I'm over it, right? That's what happens. So I get it. But yeah, you just gotta get to next week. You just gotta, this is what I say. Texas guy 2, you gotta take that L. Just gotta take that L. Feel it like a needle. Get it. And then just know the pain will be over soon. But right now, until you play your next game, you are not going to be happy. And I apologize for that. But go ahead, nonetheless. Yeah, OU fans are bragging about playoff losses. That's hilarious. But they getting tattoos for regular season wins. That's really interesting. A thumper. Huh. I don't remember a thumper question before. It's a unique one. Thumper. Buy or sell? The OU game, basic blocking and tackling was the reason for the loss. Quinn played well enough to win by 14. At least if the entire team played well, like the good Longhorn team. Whew, okay. For the most part, I think I'll buy on this. I think blocking and tackling was an issue. On both sides of the ball, especially the line of scrimmage. I think that was an issue. There was definitely some issues from the offensive side of the ball. But for the most part, 500 yards of offense is 500 yards of offense. But for the defensive side of the ball, that's really where you saw that thing kind of creep up. That's where it was. Quinn did play well enough to win by 14, even with the mistakes that occurred. But again, is that, when you get first and goal on the one, that's not on Quinn. I can't put that on him. The interceptions, it's hard for me to put those interceptions on him when they're, guys aren't fighting the ball for a ball, a ball comes off a guy's hand after getting hit. Like those things, I can't say that's, oh my gosh, like someone made a play on the ball, jumped the route, and that happened. So yeah, I would probably buy on that. And then what your hope has to be, Thumper, going forward, is that you just don't see a repeat of that again. That's what it boils down to. If you don't see a repeat of that, then Texas is good. If that thing happens again, well, then it's really not gonna be fun around here. I can tell you that damn much. What else we got? John Woodward. Buy or sell? Prevent/lose defense cost us the game. Well, buy. Yeah, I mean, John, I can't disagree. With you on that one. It's like bam, 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 bam. That's all it took. And then once they got down there, they had Texas on their heels. But no, again, a spy or Gabriel maybe makes you feel better, but probably, yes, giving someone enough of a cushion, which that technically they should not have found those holes. But yes, it did end up costing Texas the game. Definitely will buy on that one. Let's do a couple more. Let's do a few more. Mikey boy, good morning to you, Mikey boy. I hope all is well with you. Good to see you. I saw you earlier in the chat. So Mikey boy is here, and he goes, buy or sell. If Texas loses 2 more games, Steve Sarkeesian will be on the hot seat. 2 games means they probably don't make it to the Big 12 championship game. Because 2 more, because that would be 3. So you're talking about a 9-3 season. I mean, well, 9-3 could technically make. Mikey boy, here's what I'll say. If Texas doesn't make the Big 12 championship game, then yes, the answer is that. Okay, to me, Mikey boy, more so than the win-loss record, is going to be, does Texas make it to the Big 12 championship game? They make it to the Big 12 championship game, all is good. Don't make it, it's a wrap. It's not going to go good. Everyone's going to be ticked off on that one and on that subject. So yeah, Big 12 championship game is really the barometer for that one. Aaron, you said that's the last one? We got one more? All right. Nope. I said, Aaron, did you say that's the last one? And you shook your head like this. So do we have any more? Yes or no? No. Okay, there you go. I figure we get on the same page with that one. All right, guys, look. Man, I got some packing to do. I'm not gonna lie. I got some packing to do. So I'm gonna get this thing knocked out. Aaron and I are gonna attempt to do a show tomorrow morning. Be a shorter show, but we're going to attempt to try to do a show tomorrow morning. He's got to get on an airplane. I got to get on an airplane. I got a lot of things I got to get tied up. Make sure my passport's all updated. I guess today would be a horrible time to figure that one out. But yes, so let me go ahead and get my day started. I hope you were able to get your day started. You guys are fighting in the chat. I love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, like the video if you haven't done that. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Aaron. Make sure you do that as well. Make sure you check out House Divided today at 12 with Chad. And, of course, Jeff Ketchum from noon to 3. Alex Football with Friends from 3:30 to 5:30. And I will be back tomorrow morning. So remember what I always say. Live each day like it was your last, because one day it will be. And we shall talk soon. You guys.